It's here. It's big. And it's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Live the Bike, brought to you by the Bicycle Casino in Los Angeles, California, the first and only webcast of real action cash game poker. My name is Bart Hanson. I'm here with my co-commentator, David Tuckman, and tonight's Thursday, so we're doing $500 buy-in unrestricted limit, no limit hold'em. The blinds for this game are 5 and 10, and because it's unrestricted, you can buy in for anything you want.
Right.
And Dave, I often get into a conversation. I try to tell the floor people, and even some of the tech people that worked on this show, that no limit games are defined by the blind size, not by the buy-in.
Right, exactly. It's not a $500 buy. It's not a $500.
It's a 5-10 no limit unrestricted game.
Exactly.
And a lot of people have
It's more defined by their
confused.
chip stacks.
Well, that too.
Right.
So let's get to it.
Let's do that. Why don't we do that? Seat 1, we've got good old Freddie, and Freddie has about $800 behind him. Seat 2, we got George Georgian, the Greek poker god, and he's got well in excess of $2,000 in front of him. Seat 3, we've got Jin, not there right now, but he's going to come back. Seat 4, we've got Carlos, and that's a good time Carlos there.
Yep.
He's an action player, real live, and a lot of fun to play with. And he's got, Carlos has got probably close to $2,500 in front of him.
A lot of money for this
Seat
game.
5, we've got Ryan Duke. Ryan's got about 1,000. Hav is in seat 6. That's Midnight, and Midnight's got about 1,900. Seat 7 is BJ, and he's probably only about $500 there. It's pretty short. Seat 8 is Victor, and Victor's got about 1,300. And seat 9 is Camilo Medina, and Camilo Medina has about $1,100. And let's get to the action.
Yeah, we're going to jump into the first hand here. It looks like pocket jacks over here for seat 2. That was Georgian. He raised it. It looked like under the gun, and he's going to get called by, 3 players. $55 raise. And the flop comes out 10-7-4, and look at this. Victor's got top 2 pair.
And he comes out and bets right away. Oh, I'm sorry.
And actually, that's Freddie that's going to come out and bet on the 4. He bets on the 4.
Yeah, I just assumed that was Victor.
Yeah. George is he's gonna raise it up to 125 now, so a better raise. And Victor's got top 2 pair. I mean, at this case, it doesn't look like he's got much there, Dave. You gotta think that's the best hand. You gotta think George has probably got an overpair.
He's got $500. He can't go anywhere in this case.
Freddie folds.
Easy fold.
And let's
Freddie.
see how much more it is that Victor. It's 125 to call. Let's see how much more it is, and then we'll do a quick math here. Only 50 more here, Dave. So George is going to...
Oh, I thought he had $500.
No.
I guess he had lost a hand since I lost last chip
It's
count.
only 50 more. I mean, if the guy's got 2 pair, you have to call here with the overpair.
Oh,
we're talking about
an easy call.
A pot that's at least $400 or $500, 50 to call. He's getting 10 to 1 on his money. He's going to need to spike a jack here, a 4, or pair.
I mean, the only way you can lay that down is that the guy accidentally shows you a pair of tens.
Now he can pick up an 8 here as well, and the river's a queen, though. 7-10 escapes, and he's going to double through here.
Victor takes it down.
Yep.
And how big was the raise pre-flop?
55, and he got called in 3 spots. I mean, the
By
guy
tens?
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have that much money there. It's really a surprising call to a raise, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what you're looking to hit, but I mean, maybe if you were deep, like, a couple hundred times deep with the other guy being the same.
Yeah, you really got to keep that in mind that when you're playing these when you're calling raises with kind of speculative hands, you have to have enough money, and your opponent has to have enough money where it makes the implied odds worth it.
Right. Now, we like to keep Live at the Bike interactive, Dave, so if you want to follow a couple of live threads that started there out in internet land, you can go to 2plus2.com, click on forums, World Poker Tour and other televised tournaments, and you can also go to Full Contact Poker. If you're looking around for the threads, you can go to our website, livethebike.com, and click on the links that bring you to those threads. You can also email us at live@thebike.com. Now we get an $80 raise here by seat 1. He's got pocket queens, and he is on the button here, and Carlos has got King 9 of diamonds, Looked like he wanted to call, but he's going to fold. So Freddie's probably in here with queens. And Victor, well, he made the call with 7-10 earlier, Dave. There's some people who believe in playing their rushes. He's got 3-5 offsuit.
Any two cards, right? I told him.
He's out of position.
Out of position with 5-3 offsuit. Heads up.
To an $80 raise.
Oh, easy call.
Yeah. And he's going to fold. Correctly fold there.
You know, I had a hand earlier today. It just doesn't happen that often. I had pocket aces. My opponent had pocket aces, and another guy had pocket kings.
Yep.
I mean,
Dave, I mean, you walked right into the casino against a hand. Anybody that knows this show knows Hollywood Tony Caden. Probably, I guess, one of the tightest players around. I had raised, we were playing 5-5 no limit. I'd raised to 20 under the gun with aces. Everybody folded, and he called to the big blind. He said, Bart, I should have re-raised to you, but I'm just going to call. The flop comes queen, 3 deuce, rainbow. He bets 150 into a $40 pot. He's got 200 left. I've got aces. I move all in. He's got 3 queens.
what do you put him on?
I really hoped that he had kings.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's tough to put him on aces because I have aces, but
Right.
And I think he would have re-raised.
Look at queens again.
Or look
for
at
BJ.
this. 3 queens here. Set of queens here for BJ. King
Yeah.
Jack's open-ended, but no one has a spade except for
Yeah.
St. John.
See, I mean, the spades really will save Victor here because you can't go for the straight when obviously
Right.
you have 2 red cards in there.
So he's bet here. It looks like 40, and that's Mr. Kim over there in seat 3. Jin Kim.
Ryan also, by the way, is open-ended, but
Yeah. So that is actually, I thought that was St. John over. That is actually Mr. Kim in seat 3. We have it as Jin, so it can be a little bit confusing.
Mr. Kim, he's
Of course,
Always
Mr.
interesting
Kim
to
was
watch.
always in my war story about that hand that I lost to a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Now, it's funny, I actually asked Hollywood Tony about that hand. So I said, why do you bet $150 into
Right.
a $40 pot when you hit top set? I go, there's no straight up, there's no flush.
Right.
And his answer, actually, he said that he knew you had a big hand.
Actually, he told me.
That's what he told me.
He told me that he thought that I had 8s or 9s because I would have raised more. He's the type of guy that will raise like $70 in a 5-5 game with aces. I mean, he
Right.
asked me, why didn't you raise more if you had aces?
Right.
I usually try to keep my pre-flop raises the same.
Yeah, maybe he just changed his story because afterwards he said that he thought you had a really big hand. And it looked like you were looking to put your chips in there. And I guess he thought he was being nice to you, trying to save you money. I'm not sure.
That would be interesting. Here we got a raise here, I think by Mr. Kim. $30 here on the button, opens it up with ace 10. The flop comes jack 9-3. Carlos looks like he's going to bet right in the ace 9 from the small blind.
Well, his hand is good,
Yeah.
and I don't think anybody can call this.
Yeah, and this is why I like to play against Mr. Kim, because he's usually not tricky, Dave. Now, maybe he'll make me eat my words on this hand, but...
Well, he's got nothing here. He's got no
Yeah.
pair, no draw. He's got, I guess a draw to a draw.
I mean, if his ace comes, oftentimes we see it if you try to spike, with an overcard, it's no good because Carlos is sharing the ace and he's going to fold.
And to be honest with you, even if the 10 falls, do you love it? I mean, 9-10 jack out there. What if Carlos is betting his gut shot, king, queen?
Right.
You never know.
Short stack at the time, made it grinded it all the way to 5th.
Hey, we always preach, betting your hands because people don't put you on it. And in that case, I mean, obviously, you look down, the flop is queen 3 deuce. A guy bets $150 and completely overbets the pot. You must think, okay, there's no way this guy's got me beat.
Dave, we get obviously some interesting happenings here at the world of Live at the Bike. And one of the things I'm going to elaborate on more throughout the show is if you look at the right-hand side of your screen at liveatthebike.com, click on the LA Poker Scene link, Dave. That is actually a play-for-money site powered by Tiger Gaming. It's a Tiger Gaming skin. So we want to encourage everyone to start playing on that site. It's our site.
2-player.
Now we're heads up here. Ace 9 against Jack 9. 10-7-7 here with a couple of clubs. Carlos brought it in here with ace 9 on the button. And it goes check, check. Turns an ace. Well, he's hit top pair now. Gets checked to him. Let's see if he's going to bet now.
25.
He's going to bet 25. Now, Victor's got a gut shot here to the 8. He's going to call. And the river is a 10. And this one's just going to go check, check.
And Carlos is going to win this one, huh?
Yeah.
Aces up.
Now, see, that's the type of hand there, Dave, where I don't really think there's a whole lot of value in betting the river, right?
Well, to be honest with you, actually, there sometimes you can bet a small little bet on the river.
Well, if the guy's going to call you thinking it's a chop.
Exactly.
Right.
And oftentimes, if the pot is big enough, you can do that.
Right.
Yesterday,
And, of course, you always bring up the fact that sometimes don't want to show down your hand. as well.
There is value to that because later on, let's say the board is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? It's a straight on board.
Right.
And I'm always betting a little token bet on those things.
Right.
Oftentimes there is some value there if once in a while, maybe one out of, 6 or 7 times, I don't have that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
50 total.
I don't have the higher straight, or I don't have the ace.
Mr. Kim is going to come in for a raise here to 50. Got pocket sevens. There was a limper in front of him.
Queen Jack suited in seat 1.
Yeah. And Freddie's going to call, and he's going to check blind over to Mr. Kim. Not a bad flop for pocket sevens. 9-4-4 rainbow. And Kim didn't bet. Turns
Wow.
a 3. I don't know. Maybe Freddie and Kim don't play against each other, Dave. Sometimes we often see that in live poker games, and sometimes that
I
often
think they
pisses
do.
people off.
I think they do play against each
I
other.
think they do. Well, I don't know what
think
Mr.
Kim
Kim's
just-
doing.
Yeah, I think he
Yeah.
just didn't like his sevens.
I don't know. What are you really looking for? Flop heads up. But anyways,
I mean, I guess he was waiting for a safe card on the turn and then a safe card in the river, and then he said, it's too late to bet now.
yeah. So again, check that out. Click on the LA Poker Scene on the right-hand side of your screen at liveatthebike.com.
Yeah, hey, that's pretty cool. There's special heads-up matches, World Poker Tour satellite events.
Yeah, check it out. Now, Dave, some people get confused. There's a couple elements to Live at the Bike. We have our website, which is liveatthebike.com spelled out. You can also email us at live@thebike.com. So thebike.com is actually a different website.
Exactly.
That's why.
Well, thebike.com
Right. It's the
is a
Bicycle
site.
Casino's website.
So live is our email address,
Right.
obviously.
Ace Jack 9 here with a couple of spades. I
Ooh,
believe it
set
was
for Hav.
Yeah, it was limped around here.
Yeah, and Hov's got a set, but unfortunately for him, nobody has a ace or a jack. And he didn't put a raise in pre-flop.
Yeah, just from the button, he chose to just limp.
I don't think anybody can call this at all.
Everyone missed. That is definitely not a hand that you would want to check one time on the button with, 5-way action.
Now, I actually had a hand earlier today where I had pocket fives in late position. I limped in. The flop came out. I mean, a beautiful flop, 10-5 deuce rainbow. But I'm just looking at it going, if I check this, who else is going to bet?
Right.
So I put a little token bet. Nobody called. And I said, okay, well, so be it.
Yeah. Button's going to move over here to seat 7.
No, I haven't called yet. Not the plan.
Ace Queen here for seat 2. Kind of limp in there, Georgian.
30.
And Carlos is going to raise here with Ace Jack offsuit. Look at that, Freddie also has Ace Queen. So, and we've got another Queen in the hand, Queen 8, and he's going to call out a seat 9. So 3 of the Queens are dead, and 3 of the Aces are dead. Chances are, this is going to miss everyone. Let's see if Carlos can follow up with the bet on the flop. Oh, there it is, 9 deuce 8 rainbow. Well, actually, you know what? Camilo there, he hit an 8.
Yeah.
Queen 8. And
He
it got
sucked out on all of them.
checked around. The turns.
He's got to know his hand is good now,
Wow, he didn't bet again, it didn't look like.
huh? Wow.
Rivers is 7.
Third club out there. He's just looking to take it down, and he's going to take it down.
Yeah.
Ace queen, ace jack.
I mean, you got to figure with 4 people in there, Carlos isn't the type of person that's necessarily going to check an overpair to that flop.
No, when the
And
9
then when
comes
the
out,
9
you got to bet it.
pairs.
Yeah. I don't mind the check on the flop, obviously. He's in early position, but
Right.
when the 9 pairs on the turn,
Yeah.
you got to throw a little money in there, take it down. You don't want somebody getting lucky and a big card comes out.
Right. So the LA poker scene there, Dave.
Yeah, and obviously we have our live links. You can go to 2plus2.com or Full Contact Poker. And I was just looking at one of our first posts from Baron Vangertoth, regular poster, and obviously talking about implied odds and calling. And obviously there are exceptions. You don't want to call a raise with some garbage hand.
Right.
Because there's also other things you got to look at. The fact that, are you sure your opponent's going to pay you off? Are you sure your opponent's going to hit a hand
Right.
that you'll get you paid off? I mean, we've seen it so many times. Somebody calls with pocket 4s. They hit their set, but their opponent has ace-king and misses everything.
Ryan Duke brought this one in for 30 in seat 5 with pocket 7s. Hav called him with jack 9 of clubs. And Ryan's not going to bet the flop here. Let's see if Hav's going to bet with the open-ended straight draw. Got checked to him.
Now he's going to take the free card.
Yep.
Surprised.
Turns a 9. Ryan checks again. And now Hav has a pair and an open-ended straight draw.
but he does not have a spade in his hand.
No,
And he's going to check again. I mean, he just wants to keep the spot small, I guess.
And the river's a king. He's made a straight.
He's made a straight, but I don't even think he's going to. He might not even bet this now.
No, he's going to put a little value.
A
in there.
little value, but nobody's going to call him, I don't think.
Or maybe you hope that maybe the guy kind of played it like ace-king over there, Ryan, and maybe you get a call from a king. But,
Interesting way to play that hand by Hobb. I mean, he probably takes it down on the flop if he just bets, right?
yeah, it didn't look like sevens were too happy about that flop, facing a couple of overcards there on the flop. I think that Carlos left.
Yeah, Carlos is out of the house, and seat 7, BJ, has moved over to seat 4.
Two chip.
The button's going to move over there to seat 9.
And George is going to move to seat 7.
Looks like we got an ace-10 of spades over there on the button. Limp, 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 and seat 9's going to raise it up here with the ace-10 of spades. He's going to make it 50 to go. And it does not look like anyone's going to want to play with him, and he is going to take it down. Well, you know, if you're not necessarily interested in playing for cash games, you can always register online for the Bicycle Casino tournaments, thebike.com free rolls. And that doesn't cost you anything. Just go to thebike.com, download the software, register. It'll get you a chance to play in some of our free rolls, some special live at the bike free rolls that we have coming up. And I believe there are 5 weekly free rolls on that site. So, hey, free money. Check it out. And actually, you can get to that site by clicking on the tab on the left-hand side of your screen. It says Win Money Now. And we have daily free roll tournaments that begin at 5 p.m. Pacific time. That's 8 Eastern. Limped around here. The button is over. It looks like in seat 1, Freddie. We got 5-way action. 8-4-3 rainbow here. A couple of people have 4s. And Hobb is going to come out and bet. He's got ace-4 of clubs. He's going to bet 50. Now, Victor actually has him out. It actually has the 4, but he is out-kicked. He's going to make the call. And we're heads up here. Let's see how Hobb's going to play it with second pair and the overcard. Turns a 7. Now Hobb picks up the flush draw, but Victor's open. He's got a gut shot to the 5 now.
115.
Hobb's going to bet 115 now. Little under the size of the pot.
Bet 115.
And does Victor really want to continue to get involved with his hand? He is somewhat on a short stack here. He's going to call. Pot's now about $350. And here we go with the river. And the river is a 7. Is Hobb going to throw a little stop bet in here? Again, it's about a $350 pot. And he's still thinking about it here. Remember, he bet the flop, he bet the turn. He does have the best hand. He's going to check. And Victor's just going to check right behind him. 7s and 4s there with the ace. And Hobb is going to take it down. About a $350 pot there. Button's going to move over there to seat 3.
Bada bing, bada boom. So, last night, obviously, USC went down, and went down hard. And it kind of like furthers my point. If you are a serious professional poker player, stay away from sports gambling. Okay? I literally...
Did you gamble $5 last night, Dave?
No, unfortunately, I gambled more than that.
Oh, really?
I literally will pick maybe 1 or 2 sports matches every 2 years to gamble on. I think the last time I gambled was actually on, like, I want to say Tampa Bay, Oakland Super Bowl.
Wow.
You know, the time before that, I think it was, you know, actually when New England Patriots were getting 14 points from St. Louis.
Limped around here, and look at this. Hobb has flopped trip 5s. And he's going to bet right into the trips. He's going to bet 50.
This is the kind of hand where if you have trip 5s here, I mean, you almost don't even want to get called.
Yeah, 5-7-5 there with a couple spades.
Yeah, I mean, such a scary board. I mean, and if somebody has a 5, you're killed, obviously.
Right.
Thank you.
So that's how infrequently I bet on sports, and there's a reason for it, obviously, because you're not the one playing. But last night, I took USC. I gave the 7 points, and my ass hurts.
A lot of people are questioning Pete Carroll, Dave, for going for it on, was it 4th and 1 at Texas's 45-yard line with a couple minutes left to go in the game?
Yeah, the more I think about it, though, it's the way they played it all season, though, so kind of expect it that way. Buttons moved over to seat 4.
And it's going to get limped around here. A couple limpers and the small and the big blind. 4-way action. King, Jack 7-5 here. See who wants this one here. Doesn't look like anyone wants it on the flop. Turns a 6, and now George has a straight. He gets his gut shot.
50.
And he's going to come out and bet. He bets 50. Victor is open-ended.
If it open-ended on the turn, I mean, this is a raise or fold situation, I think. I mean, because if you hit your one-liner, I mean, you're really going to get paid off.
Right. George's not going to pay him off if an 8 comes or if a 4 comes.
I mean, a 9, you mean, right.
Yeah, excuse me. The river's a queen.
200.
He's going to bet 200 here. And he's going to take it down. Yeah, 9 is pretty obvious there for George. He kind of gets screwed there by anyone with an 8.
And a 4, obviously,
Right.
I mean, he's not going to make any money on it. And if you think the guy is just on a steal, which obviously George was not on, but if you think he's on a steal, why don't you raise the draw and take it down? But in that case, I'm going to just give it up, save your chips for the next hand.
Button moves over here to Hav there in seat 6.
And for anybody new to Live at the Bike, we do cash games here. It's not a tournament like usually you see on TV. You know, people can get up whenever they want to. They can play as long as they want. They can put their chips in their pocket and so forth. And obviously they can take more chips out.
4-way action here. I think we got a set of 10s over there for seat 9. And he did not raise out of the big blind. And he checks it from up front. King 10-9. And look at that. It gets checked around. And Dave, look at the turn card. It's an 8 of hearts.
Wow, and seat 8 now, Victor's made a flush. He's got the Jack 3 of hearts.
Yeah.
So we have a set of 10s in seat 9 and a flush in seat 8. And there they are.
And he comes out and bets here.
And Joe is now open-ended.
Set of 10s just calls, and seat 4 calls. With 8-10, 2 pair. Well, the river's a deuce. It's a blank. And Victor is going to bet. Here again.
60.
He's going to bet 60.
Little value bet from the flush. And give Camilo credit here. He doesn't raise this.
He's going to call. And look at this 8-10 calls with 2 pair. And there it is. So you got to think that probably the set of 10s is looking to check raise, and he shows it. He also had the 10 of hearts in his hand.
Yeah, but it was limped around. You can't count on somebody betting in a limped around pot. Especially at a game like this, which obviously hasn't really taken on a personality of its own. It's right now it's pretty passive. It's pretty slow. You got to bet your own hands.
I need another 10. I don't need any other pair.
An interesting play there. And it's kind of, a play that you can do if you're an advanced player and limit. Could you possibly raise the turn with your set of 10s and just check it down on the river if you don't fill up? Maybe knock out somebody else. And then if the guy re-raises, you obviously got to fold. But can that guy re-raise with a jack-high flush?
Well, the only thing that's kind of annoying with the, he can.
Right.
If you raise with the 10s, then the guy re-raises you all in.
Then you don't get to see.
You don't get to see that last card.
Right.
I mean, you can make an argument for both ways, obviously. Where if you get the free card at the end and it is a full house, hey, you can make a lot of money.
Right.
I mean, if an 8 comes on the river there,
right.
One guy has a full house, the other guy has a full house.
Limped around here 5-3-3, and it looks like seat 4 has got trip 3s. He's going to check it. Playing 9-3 suited from up front. Does not bet.
But he's not in the blind, right? No.
Turn is an ace. Well, Victor has an ace now. And Victor's in the small blind. And look at this. The 3 checks again, Dave.
Wow.
No money in there at all. And the river is a 7. And Victor, he's going to bet now. He's going to bet 20.
$20.
And look at this. He doesn't even raise. He just calls. Wow. That is passive. Maybe he was scared. I don't know really.
We see it all the time. I mean, I was just playing the 3-5 game, and I know it's Ollie I was playing against. But Ollie had tripped kings and waited to the river, and then he just threw a little $20 bet in on the river.
Why players get scared of putting money in the pot with their good hands is always beyond me.
I just don't understand how you expect to make any money if you don't ever put money in the pot.
Right.
I mean, I guess they always expect, they go, oh, well, I'll let somebody try to steal it. When somebody tries to steal it, that's when I'll snap them off.
Yep.
Now, a lot of people are actually leaving propping to be more tournament. I know Hollywood Tony, what's his last name?
Caden.
Caden.
Yeah.
He actually was propping here for a little while
Right.
and quit to be in the tournament circuit, to play more tournaments.
3 players.
Three-way action here.
Wish him all the luck. Well, not all the luck. I want to wish Shirley more luck than him.
King Jack 5 here is limped around. This table is very passive.
Yeah, really passive right now. I mean, this is the kind of table where you really have to know the table you're at. If you're at a table like this, you can really take advantage, really mix it up, steal a lot of pots, kind of be content winning small
It's
pots.
going to get checked around again here. The river's a 10. Mr. Kim's made a straight.
Check around.
And he checked it, Dave.
Yeah.
Mr. Kim checked the straight on the river.
Straight.
Guess maybe he thought, I mean, again, maybe he thought maybe someone would try to steal it, but are we at that kind of table where someone's going to take a shot at it after both streets were checked? I mean,
Well, he
it's not
didn't
the nuts. The only thing you lose to is ace-queen.
Well, you
My
know, you
God.
got to be scared of that.
Right.
Obviously, I hope people that are used to me are used to my sarcasm.
Right. Button's going to move over here to seat 9. Now, the funny thing is that
Yeah.
if it weren't, or if it wasn't for the poker endorsements that come along with tournament play, and I
Yeah.
guess the prestige and becoming famous and getting money from other avenues, you know, whether it would be commentating or possible commercial endorsements for things outside of poker.
Right.
Can you really make enough money as a tournament poker player for a living? I mean, I guess the answer to that is yes, but it's very, very few and far between. Without that auxiliary ancillary
Well, that's the whole
money,
thing.
you know.
In today's day and age, that is part of the game, and you've got to be obviously
Right.
aware of that. George has got top pair here, and nobody else has much of anything. Flop is queen, 9-6, couple of diamonds. Hobbs got a flush draw.
He's going to bet.
65.
He's going to bet 65. And it does not look like that anyone's going to call here.
Well, Hobbs got a flush draw, but I don't know if Hobbs wants to take his flush draw heads up against George.
No.
He knows he's not going to get paid off.
No.
And Hobbs throws it away. And a lot of people go, wait a second, how can you throw away a flush draw? And the problem with that is the flush is so obvious. You know what I mean?
Right.
Everybody always sees the flush. You know, that's why oftentimes straights get paid off more. And George is the type of player where, you know, he's not going to pay him off the guy if he hits a flush.
Now, look, we got an email here from Mark from Denmark. He says, I'm a guy from Denmark that just wanted to say thanks for a great show in your analysis of hands. It's really spot on, and it's improved my game, even though I'm mainly a tournament player. Keep up the good work, and good luck to that lady with her career. Well, thanks, Mark.
And I'm assuming that lady is Shirley Rosario.
I thought he was referring to you.
Ba-dum-bum. And the hits just keep on rolling here live at the bike, folks. Button is in seat 2. Keep the emails coming in, folks. Live at thebike.com.
Oh, small blind's going to raise here. We can't see his cards. Freddie said, didn't you want to chop? Oh, I guess we can't see either person's cards in seat 4 and seat 5. And there we go. He's got ace-queen. And look at this. Seat 5's got jacks.
He was being nice. He goes, you want to chop?
Flop comes
And
8-3-3.
the pot is like $150.
And
isn't it?
now they're going to chop it down now after the flop came. I don't know what Freddie's thinking about there. River's a deuce. I mean, the flop comes 8-3-3, and then he says, do you want to chop now when I have jacks and overpair?
Before the flop, I told him, let's just call and go all the way.
Well, I guess they were talking about, well,
They're
we
talking
both
about for
had
a jackpot.
jackpot hands, so we should just check it down. Maybe that's what they did.
And people don't realize the money that pay. So instead of paying at 50 cents, you're going to pay
Right.
$4.
$4 to try to hit. I mean, you probably have, there aren't a lot of cases when you have better odds to hit the lottery, but that's probably one of them, Dave. I mean, that is just about as dumb as you possibly can come. The seat 2 is going to limp in here with ace-9 of hearts again.
5 players.
And that's Mr. Kim. You might, throw in a raise here against this table with that hand. 5-way action here. 10 deuce 4. Seat 5's got a spade draw.
I got the best hand, Freddie. What am I going to do? I'm going to let you catch up and check it all the
30.
way down?
Hobbs got
Hobbs got a 10, and he bets it.
yeah. He bets 30. Victor's gonna call here with 3-4.
Yeah, and Freddie was whining that he bet.
Right.
And now
Mr.
Vic just
Kim.
called a 3-4. Okay.
Player.
And Freddie's gonna call now.
Well, Freddie's got the flush draw and an overcard. Here we go to the turn. Turn's a 3.
Well, there it is.
Wow, Victor's got 2 pair. It's gonna get checked to him, and he's gonna bet.
So this is one of those cases where, wow, okay, so you hit your hand, right? What great implied odds? Well, let's be serious. Hobbs got 10-6. You're
Look
not
at
going
that.
to get paid off anyway.
And Freddie mucked a flush draw with a gut shot. Now Hobbs has top. Yeah, there you go.
And that's the exact reason why it doesn't always make sense to go for it.
Right.
Now, if you know your opponent has aces, well then, hey, and you know they're going to pay you off, okay, sure, go for it.
Right.
Now, back to the tournament play, obviously. I don't think, some tournament players will tell me I'm wrong, but I don't think most tournament players make a living just playing tournaments.
As opposed to, playing on the side.
I don't know. I talked to Tommy Huffnagel about like Annie Duke, and he said, no, we like her in the game, in a cash game.
Right.
I honestly think Annie Duke makes more money from her endorsements and from her videos and from her how-to-play poker stuff and all that stuff, and from UB, actually.
Yeah.
I think she does much better than that than she does for actually tournaments.
Hey, Ronnie.
But, hey, that's part of it, though. That's the reason why. Why do you think Kenna James plays these? You know what I mean? That's what it's all about now.
Limped around here. We got three-way action. We cannot see seat 6's cards. King 3-8 here, rainbow.
And Mike just called. He said he's on his way. Corporation Mike come down.
Oh, really? Okay. This one here? Check.
Flop comes out. King 3-8. Everybody checks around. Turn here is a 9. Hob has Jack Deuce. Gets checked around again. The river's a king.
So the best hand I want to say is George with Ace-Jack?
Boy, this table is just about as passive as it possibly can get, Dave. I mean, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah. And obviously, like in cash games sometimes, once again, we are live. We're unedited. We're unscripted. And once in a while, we give you some of the great stuff in the world. It's some of the best poker you could ever see. But live poker, especially cash games, they can get like this.
Right.
And you have to have the patience and the discipline to kind of stay the course.
And the funny thing is, it only really takes, say, one player to come in and liven up the game. And I think we're getting word that Corporation Mike's coming into the game, and he's probably that player, Dave.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, you know.
Mo's coming in as well, and
Right.
Mo's going to try to win some money here, too.
Right. And Mo can, we've obviously seen Mo, kind of slow it down over the last year since when he was first playing on the show. But he's going to take advantage of this table.
Right. Mo's the type of player that will adapt his game to the table he's at.
Right.
At a table like this, he'll take advantage. He'll be aggressive, and so forth.
Well, we got pocket aces over here for seat 9.
Now, Juan also there in seat 3. He's a pretty good player also. And he also is a relatively passive player. Passive and solid tight.
Look at this. Freddie raised with Queen Jack of Hearts, and the big blind just smooth called. He's playing the trap game. Oh, and Queen Jack flops a flush, but the aces have the Ace of Hearts in his hand.
Oh, this could get ugly.
Yeah. And Aces is going to lead right out here for 150, and I think Freddie raises to 300. And Aces is going to move all in with the Ace of Hearts, and Freddie's going to call. He's got a made flush. And obviously the 10 of Hearts would be no good for seat 9 anyways, because it would be a straight flush.
He's got very few outs there. There's 6 hearts out there. This 10 is no good.
Right.
There's only 5 hearts left that are good for him.
He could obviously catch some sort of running full house as
Yes.
well. Well, the turn's a heart, Dave. Freddie needs to catch the 10, and it doesn't come.
Oh, wow.
And Aces with the Ace of Hearts is going to take it down.
Yeah, he only had, I want to say 6 outs, right? No, 5 outs, sorry. And he hit it there. 4 hearts. And Freddie's gone. And as nice as Freddie is, he's not going to hurt us.
Right.
If the other one shows. Nothing I can do.
Check it down.
Okay. Blinds up.
So that's an interesting hand there.
We've had a big turnover in the seats here, so I'm just going to go through them really quick so everybody knows where everybody is. Seat 1, we've got Mr. Kim now. Seat 2, we now have Juan. And I played with Juan. Juan's a pretty cagey player. Likes to really slow play stuff, likes to trap people. Seat 3 is empty as of now. Seat 4 is... That's BJ. Seat 5 is empty right now. Bob's got it filled up. Seat 6 still Hav. Seat 7 still George. Seat 8 is Victor. And seat 9 is Lucky Camilo.
Four-way action there. Corporation Mike here is in seat 5. We can see his bald head here. Queen 3-7, limped around.
Mike's going to love this kind of game.
Oh, he should be able to run down this game. Turn is a 6.
20.
And seat 3 there, Victor's going to bet out here with ace 3. He has the best hand. Excuse me, seat 8. And Juan calls with king 7. Actually, Juan has the best hand. And the river's a 7. Juan makes trips. And he's going to bet 55.
I'm waiting for that one from the 10.
And Victor is out of there.
But you might want to save that till...
So Corporation Mike coming into the game. And these players are playing musical chairs here. That's why a little bit difficult, David, sometimes to get the cards up. Our producer is actively trying to switch the names on the screen.
Trying to figure out who has what hand.
Right, right.
Oftentimes we'll see tournament players come into a cash game that's like this, a game that obviously where you need a little more discipline, a little more patience to take advantage of it. And oftentimes they'll burn up and burn away, I guess you say, crash and burn, so to speak.
65.
And getting word that Mike, Corporation Mike, is buying in for $2,000.
We got a raise here from the cutoff. George Georgian is $65. He's got ace king. And he is going to take it down there. And Dave, I wanted... You pointed it out here. Chester, who was a gentleman in the wheelchair that actually played on the show a couple weeks back.
Great guy.
Very
Really
funny
nice guy.
He is saying, Bart, I don't know if you saw or already mentioned this, but on page 80 of the Evelyn Ing card player, Thomas Keller used the term counterfeited in exactly the same context of the ruining 2 pair as you did when Shirley freaked out on you last month. So you could let her know that you're in good company. The funny thing about that was that I don't really care about the argument anymore, Dave. But it's good that
Look at the... I'm sorry to interrupt you. Corporation Mike has straddled. All he did was straddle. And he takes it down.
right.
Nobody called the straddle. I got to tell you, I'd almost put a blind $20 raise in every single farm.
I just thought, Dave, and I told it to you a couple weeks ago when it was funny, that Steve Badger, who was Shirley's mentor, I guess, or teacher, actually found an article where he used the terminology in an article. And I know that he was calling Shirley in the middle of the show saying, "You're right, Shirley, you're right."
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get the actual definition of it,
It doesn't matter. I don't even want to go through it.
Right,
Yeah.
it doesn't really make a difference in the end of it. It's all semantics.
Limped around here.
Raise.
And Corporation Mike is going to raise out of the big blind. He's got ace 6 of diamonds. And a couple people other have ace. Seat 4 mucks and ace 7 of clubs.
Freddie's back in the game, by the way.
And Freddie's got ace deuce of hearts. Ace jack over there for seat 9. So all of the aces are out. And look, seat 9 mucks ace jack as well. Well, no one's going to hit an ace. They're all dead. We're heads up. Ace 6 against ace deuce. 6-6. And look at this. Corporation Mike flops trips.
Yeah, and Freddie is officially drawing dead.
Let's see how Mike is
I mean, it's
gonna play.
almost impossible to be drawing dead on the flop, and he is drawing dead. Right?
Yep.
No, I guess running aces. We chop it up.
Yeah, but there are no aces left. And Mike bets here, and he's going to take it down.
Off the bat, let me have a look.
Well, the only problem that I have with Mike's game sometimes, and I'm glad that he actually bet it there, is, especially on this table, he should be betting his bluffs and his good hands.
Right.
I mean, there really is not, people will be like, why did that guy bet that trips heads up? Well, if you know Corporation's Mike's game, I mean, that works right into his game, right?
Well,
and there were a couple of times a couple months ago where we were like, Mike, why are you slow playing? We were getting on him, and he seemed to have stopped doing that.
Well, it just doesn't make any sense. If you're going to bet, if you're only going to bet when you're bluffing, and you're going to check when you have something, well,
Yeah.
players will pick up on that really
There's a
quick.
little pattern that can be picked up on, right?
Now, look at Freddie's game. What's up with that? Freddie's the most passive player. He's passive, right? He wants to check down when he has jacks. He wants to just, chop it up. But there he calls a $60 raise with ace deuce.
5-way action here. 10-10-9. It got checked around.
Nope, trips for George.
George Georgian with the king 10. He's going to bet 75. We don't have the cards up there yet. He's got king 10. There we go. And he bets right out in the trips. And there's a lot of players that aren't getting involved really with hands that they shouldn't be getting involved with. It's just rare that you see a bunch of players, do that. I mean, earlier last hand, seat 9 had limped in with ace-jack and did not call Corporation's Mike's raise out in the field in position. Now, the funny thing is, obviously, ace-jack is a hand that is very easily dominated. But against Corporation Mike, you could easily have the best hand there in position. I actually might have called there against Mike. Because Mike could be really raising with anything. You get position on him, you can let him bet. He's automatically going to bet, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting, you can make an argument for either way. I mean, you might even want to re-raise it.
Right.
Take it down. But if he calls you, but you got position on him, so.
Right.
60.
And Mike is going to raise here on the button. He's got 7-10 of clubs. Freddie's got ace-queen. He's just going to call. Now, against Mike here, I know if I was in the big blind, I probably would re-raise with ace-queen.
Right, the problem is if you get called, where are you? Where are you at then? Because you're out of position. Let's say you re-raise it to 150, and then he calls you anyway, and the flop comes out like this. Now what do you do?
Well, Camilo's flopped a set.
Right, but what do you do with ace-queen now?
Right.
If you've raised. You almost have to throw out a little continuation bet and hope that Mike is missed.
Now, Camilo checks the set. Mike bets 150, and let's see what seat 9's going to do.
I want to say Mike is... No, he's not. I thought maybe for a second he had double gutter there.
No, he's got a gut shot to the 9. And he's going to raise.
Raise 2 more 50.
He's going to make it 250 more, so it's 400 here.
No, 150. 150 is minimum.
So let's see what Mike is going to do. Now, interesting, if Mike were to catch a 9, it's not necessarily a one-liner to a straight and Mike folds. If somebody was really, really deep and, say, Camilo only check raises with a minimum of 2 pair, Dave, Jack 8 or a set, could you actually take one off there and see, if he's the type of guy that's going to pay you off?
Well, I mean, you've got 4, you pretty much have 4 outs, right?
Right. I don't think in that case, neither player, I don't think Camilo's deep enough.
Right, but I mean, you've got 4 outs, but the problem is your opponent also has redraws against you, so you got to be really deep and know you're going to get paid off.
7 on the turn. Stuck with that. Set. Play this course. Nice course.
I mean, the interesting thing about tournament players becoming celebrities, so to speak, cash game players are rarely going to become celebrities. Obviously, that's what we're trying to do with our show. But tournament players, I mean, 10, 12 years ago, people knew who Doyle Brunson was, but nobody knew who, like, Daniel Negreanu was or, say, Phil Ivey.
Back in the days when
I mean, people in the poker world did.
Right.
But Chris Ferguson?
I don't even know if people knew Doyle Brunson, to be honest with you.
I mean
the
people
average person?
The average person probably did not know.
Yeah. Look at this now. Freddie's going to raise here out of the small blind. It was limped around. He has ace-jack.
Well, you know what? Like you said, one new player comes to the game, and it changes the entire dynamics.
Right.
And if you're playing in a game like this, that's why you got to stay focused, and you can't just be on autopilot, because that's how the game changes.
It looks like he's going to take it down here. I don't think anyone's going to call. Nope. There it is. And luckily for us, for entertainment value, we're really, glad that Mike came into the game, because that, in the first couple minutes there was turned into kind of like slow molasses, like I like to say, right?
Yeah, I was taking out my 57.
Right.
And this night right now. Once again, we are live at the bike. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hansen. You're watching a 5-10 blind no-limit hold'em game. The minimum buy-in is 500. There's no maximum. And there's probably in excess of $15,000 on the table as we speak.
Dave, we never went over the chipped colors like we like to do. The yellow chips are $5 chips, and the purple chips are $25 chips. White chips are $100 chips. So there you go. There's Corporation Mike's stack.
And that little red one there, little red orange, that's 50 cents.
Yep. And the blue ones are dollars. 5-10 blinds, so 10 to call. Now, it's interesting that seat 9 mucked ace-jack, to a raise earlier, but he's limped under the gun here with ace-7 suited. Flop comes 10, deuce, 6.
Well, Mike's got the best hand here. He's got ace-6. Nobody has a 10.
Yep. Now, the funny thing is, I actually, I will normally stay away from that hand under the gun. But especially if Mike wasn't at the table and there wasn't a lot of pre-flop raising, Dave, you might be able to get away with limping in with ace-rag suited pre-flop.
Well, the way the game was just a half hour ago, you could easily limp. You could actually raise with ace-7 suited under the gun in a game like before.
Right.
Now, with Mike in the game, he's probably going to pop it up, and then what do you do?
Yeah. Well, Mike bets here with the ace-6. He's going to bet 100.
And that's the value in Mike's game now. If he bets his made hands, his kind of marginal hands and his bluffs all the same way, it's really tough to know what he has.
Right.
You blinded me with that sparkle, man.
You know, it's kind of funny. Sometimes when people can look at a guy like that and you go, oh, that's the kind of guy I want at my game because he's a live one. But it's also the kind of guy that most people fear.
Absolutely. Especially when, I don't think that Mike has a real regard for money, meaning that his job here that he has at the casino makes him enough money where I don't think that, I mean, these are in essence just chips to him, and he might have significant amount of money, more than some of these other players that might do it for a living and they don't like guard their money closely. So that's also scary too.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like playing against an Ed who will just call you down with one pair all the way and then bust you when he hits two pair on the
Right.
river.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously Mike's a very different player than
Yeah,
Ed, but
right.
yeah, in the same sense, it is scary to play against somebody when they have no regard for money.
Right. King 4-4 here with a couple of clubs.
I mean, it's kind of the way you should play. I mean, the best poker players, the best gamblers in the world don't have regard for money, do they?
Right. Turns of 5.
George has now picked up 2 pair,
And the river is a king, but
and his pair's still
yeah,
good.
the pair of 5s is good here.
Now, this is the case where I would bet this because you might get called by an ace.
And he's going to bet.
Yeah,
Gonna
there you
bet
go.
25.
Let's see if Victor pays him off, and if Victor doesn't pay him off, well, Hobbs not going to because it's George.
Right.
But somebody might have paid him off with an ace.
And the reason why Hobb isn't going to pay him off is I don't necessarily think that George is the type of player that's going to bet out there with an ace into multiple people, and then you're only hoping for a chop anyway. So really, what's the value in calling there against a player like that with the lone ace? Button moves over there to George. Interesting, George has only been playing this game, I want to say, for less than a year.
Really?
So, yeah.
Well, he plays a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, he plays for less than a year, but, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. Man, that's some intensive schooling.
Pocket 8s over here for seat 9.
Yeah, Camilo.
Now George here, he's going to limp on the cutoff with King 10 suited. Seat 8's got an ace 4 of clubs.
$50 pot.
5-way action here. Queen, Jack 10. George has bottom pair, and he's open-ended. And Mike's also open-ended. Mike's going to bet here with the king.
65.
He's going to bet 65.
Pretty bad flop for Camilo, huh? BJ is also open-ended. Gets rid of it, though.
Well, George is going to call.
Now, George has got, Mike is in really bad shape compared to George here. They both have the same king, obviously, but George is a pair.
Turns a 3. Now Mike picks up a pair.
Right, but that doesn't obviously... Mike needs another 3 to win this hand.
And I think that Mike checked, and George is going to check right behind him. And the river's a 9, and both players have a straight.
And, their hearts might be beating, but obviously we know this is a chop pot, so...
$225 bet here. Now, this is an interesting situation. Well, George is showing him a king. I can't imagine that you would lay this down. I mean, can you put Mike on ace-king?
Does that scare you at all?
I mean, he did limp. He's just going to call. And we brought this up, Dave, the other day when the guy who basically had the second nut hand with an ace-high flush raised a guy who bet into him who had the straight flush.
Right.
And this was kind of a little bit of a similar situation. Although here, though, Mike bets in there. I probably wouldn't have raised either because if you're gonna raise, you're not gonna get called.
No
Mike's
chance.
Just putting a bluff in.
Mike's a crazy guy.
Right.
He's a crazy player, but he's not stupid. He's actually a pretty good player. I like Mike's game. There's no chance he's paying off. If he's stealing, he's stealing.
Right.
If he actually has like a pair or 2 pair, he probably doesn't even bet it.
Right.
So he's either on a bluff or he's got a king.
Well, because the other thing too I was saying was the way that guy played the ace of clubs a couple of days ago. Could you raise there for value and fold to a re-raise? But in that situation, I don't think it was the same thing.
To me, George, it's a clear just call.
Right.
When the 9 comes up and Mike still bets and bets right into you, you just hope that he's bluffing and you just call him.
Right.
Because if you re-raise and then he moves all in, then what do? You just
Right.
have to hope that he has just a king and not ace-king.
Right.
Good point by Baron Vanger Toth on 2+2 here. Phil Ivey 10, 12 years ago was in high school. I think he was still playing, though, down in Atlantic City. I know he said that he had a fake ID and used to play when he was like 17 years old, so might have been there.
King, 6.
But either way, I hope you all get my point there.
Yeah.
And obviously over the last 5 years, since the influx of the World Poker Tour, tournament players have become celebrities, where they weren't just 10 years ago. George has got the best hand here with 10 high. 3 kings and a 6 and a 10. No, actually, I'm sorry, 3 kings, 10-9.
Yeah, there you go. 10 high. 10 high is good. Of course, Texas Hold'em, we play any 5 cards, or the best 5 cards in any combination. Unlike Omaha, Dave. Now, if people are going to make the, you're going to make the transition from Hold'em to Omaha, well, buckle your seatbelts, and the only advice that I can give you is turn your hand over up at the end of the hand at showdown, and let somebody else read it.
Right.
Because it can be confusing.
A lot of times when say you think you have a 4 low, and you go, wait a second, the 4 just came. What do I have now? I don't even know.
Right.
Now I think you can be counterfeited there, right?
Yeah. Well, that is actually what they say is the true meaning of counterfeit. And I think that's where Shirley got all bent out of shape because.
Yeah. Well, she's an Omaha player.
Right.
She's defending her game.
Right.
Better than that, 2 aces.
My only point was, and again, I don't care about the argument.
More points? You're still making more points about this?
My only point was that was me calling that situation counterfeit so blatantly bad that
Yes,
it
it was.
deserved
Without
a
a doubt.
scorning by her?
Clearly.
I guess so.
Clearly. I think it deserved a spanking.
Well.
And I think
yeah.
I should get the spanking.
Told you I was back. Put your game face
Look at
on.
this. Limped around, and Mike's got aces, and he's going to raise out of the big blind. And this is why, Mike, you just don't know what he ever has, Dave.
Exactly. And it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Now you're sitting there going, Hov's got ace-10. Do you raise back with ace-10 because it's Mike?
Right.
'Cause even crazy players, they get the same share, of good hands.
Right.
They get kings, they get aces. They hit sets once in a while, too. It was funny, Scott Fishman was playing in a tournament, and there was a guy who was playing with him, and the guy had an interesting quote because he got knocked out when Fishman had a pocket kings. And Fishman was raising, and the guy said when he got knocked out, he goes, man, you raise every other hand. He goes, why do you have to have kings that time? But that's the case,
Yeah.
That's why you raise a lot. That's why you mix it up. That's why you kind of play out of the box.
Button's going to move over there to seat number 2. And we got a small on the button here. And Mike's got ace-4. He's just going to complete. And we got 4-way action here. So it's a $40 pot. Here we go to the flop. Jack 4-7 with a couple of clubs. And Mike's going to come out and he's going to bet with bottom pair. He's got a backdoor flush draw with his ace of clubs. He bets 40.
And Juan's calling with nothing.
Well, he's got a gut shot to the 5. The turn's a king. Maybe he's just, and it goes check, check. He takes a card here. And the river's a queen. Now, Juan, could he really represent? He's missed everything here, and he's going to bet the river here, Dave, with the club. And I like the bet. You got to take, that's a great bluff card, isn't it? It's a $100 bet.
Well, Mike can't beat, Mike can't beat anything. Anything real, that is.
And Juan takes it down.
Yeah.
My button, right?
Yeah, Juan called there with a gut shot to the 5.
And that's sometimes the way to play Mike also. If you're a pretty tight, solid player like Juan is, if you call Mike one time, sometimes that's enough to stop him, Because he figures, okay, Juan must have something.
Yeah, I should go on the road, maybe. Take comedy duo.
We wouldn't go with you, man.
Button moves over here to Mike. And, early on, Mike was just kind of crazy wild, but as he's learned the game, he'll raise in position now as opposed to raising with garbage, say, under the gun. Kind of like what he did. He was just wild when he first came
when he
on the
first
show.
started, I don't think he's ever played the game before.
Right.
He just said, oh, okay, this looks like fun, I'll play.
Yeah. Now look at George Georgian raises to 75 with Queen Jack of Diamonds. Mike calls with Queen Deuce of Clubs on the button. I don't know about that. And Ace King's going to call in the small blind. BJ, who's played tight all night. Wow, George.
200.
Excuse me, I thought George had a flush draw.
No.
BJ bets here 200.
You got 2 jacks?
Into about a $225 pot, right?
Yep. And actually, you know what? I think he got. Yeah, he's going to bet 200. And he's all in, and he's going to take it down.
Now, it's interesting. He put in more than 33% of his stack with Ace King pre-flop.
Had you beat,
Why wouldn't you just raise pre-flop then if you're going to come? You know what I mean?
Well, also, if you're going to play it in that manner, you got to expect, especially if Mike is there. George raised pre-flop. If I'm saying, all right, I hit my ace or my king, I'm going to commit these 200 chips. Now, we always preach fast playing, but I would probably check raise all in there on the flop. Someone's going to bet. If it's not George, it's probably going to be Mike, especially if you know you got Mike in the hand. George is expected to bet there when an ace comes out.
There's no question. If you check it, one of them are going to take a shot at it.
Right. I think that hand was misplayed by C4.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
You can't. I mean, obviously, we always preach, bet
Right.
your hand, bet your hand, bet your hand. But there are times where you've got to check raise.
Right. Limped around here, we've got 5-way action. Jack 8-5 with a couple of diamonds.
Especially when you only have $200 behind.
Well, that's just the thing,
Yeah. Even more so.
5 lanes.
Got checked around the turns of 5 here.
Check.
And Mike didn't bet there with the 8. It got checked to him.
75.
And now he's going to bet 75. That's a little bit surprising.
Yeah. And Mike takes it down.
This is just such a passive table.
Yeah, Mike, he pays his fair share of rake, don't you think? Most people win, like, say, 3 to 4 hands an hour. Mike probably wins about 9.
Now, the only thing about Mike, again, like most players, Dave, is I haven't really seen him, have the ability yet to lay down big hands, even against players where you kind of figure he's beat.
I disagree with you, but let's get to the chip count first.
Well, George has got 5,700. He's covering the table. Juan with 2,600. Hob with 2,100. And, this is the first chip count, so we'll keep a close eye on this and tell you how people are doing when we have the next chip count.
I was actually playing with Mike maybe 2 weeks ago. I had turned a straight, and he had 2 pair.
5 lanes.
He bet, I raised, he re-raised, I moved in, he threw away 2 pair. I mean, I'm watching him do it. I mean, I'm just saying it's part of his game that he's kind of refined, and he seems to be getting better at it, getting away from hands.
45.
Hob's going to bet 45 here. He's got top pair with the ace.
It's not very funny after the
Now, Juan has a flush draw. He's going to make that call. Here we go to the turn.
Hob has that backdoor flush draw as well.
Turns a jack.
Now, Hob can't love his hand here. I mean, he's got an ace, but he's got no kicker whatsoever.
Check, check.
And that's why he's going to check it behind.
River's a king. Hob might check again here.
Yeah, he might.
Yeah, and he does. And Juan just gives up.
And against Juan, that's the kind of, you might check that down. There's not much value in betting against Juan there on the river, except to not show your hand.
Well, we haven't seen a lot of Corporation, to get back to what we were talking about, we haven't seen a lot of him
Laying
on the
down big
show
hands.
lately.
Right.
But from what I remember, I've seen him, maybe not 2 pair, but I've seen him not be able to get away from tricks.
Right.
Even with the 3 flush out there. I mean, it's tough.
No, I have to agree with you in that case. But
And we've seen him call in all-in pre-flop with jacks and queens before in a cash game. He might raise. A guy like Hob or George Georgie might come over the top of him pre-flop all in, and he might call with queens.
yeah, I just haven't
don't
seen that in
think
a while.
Okay.
I mean, I'm giving him credit in the case of he's been playing a lot of poker, not a lot on our show, because he likes to come out. Sometimes he doesn't get to play till 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night
Right.
because of his job.
So I said, call.
And I think he's improved his game.
Turn over my hand, and he says some swear in Persian.
Let's see him make a bad call tonight and make me look stupid.
So I'm
Though.
thinking, I got him. He's got ace 10 or 2 queens or something.
Well, this one's limped
So
around.
I'm thinking for a while, and then he lets the board run out, and he goes, it's a good hand.
Ace,
He
queen,
turns
4.
over 2 keys. That's slow rolling me. That's so sick.
Ace, queen, 4 here. Looks like Mr. Kim has the best hand. He can come out and bet here on the queen. He's gonna
I
bet
forgot Mr. Kim was even in the game.
I heard him swear, I'm thinking, oh, I doubled up. I got $5 grand now.
That's the same thing as a bad beat, huh?
Yeah, kind of.
Somebody pointed out on 2+2. I guess Mr. Kim's in the game, so there's no 60 mix game tonight.
And look at this. Victor's going to call with pocket sevens.
That board a few times.
And again, I mean, you really got to know your players. Now Kim picks up a flush draw. And he's going to bet here again.
But Victor
with the
doesn't
king.
know. I don't think Victor is familiar with Mr.
I mean,
Kim.
Mr. Kim, he fires out on the flop against 4 people. I almost put him on an ace. The river was a jack. Kim would have made a
But
flush.
let's be honest. There's no. It's Ace Queen 4
Right.
rainbow.
I mean, I'm
King
surprised.
seven's possible.
I'm even surprised. I'm shocked that Kim bet there with King Queen. Knowing him the way that I know him,
Yeah.
into 4 people.
Right.
And Button's going to move over there to, looks like seat number 7.
See a lot of new faces, new posters on the 2+2
Yeah.
grid. Welcome to Live at the Bike. You can watch us every Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 p.m. And if that time is not convenient for you, our show is on a loop around the whole entire day. I think the next show starts at like 10 o'clock at night and it continues to loop around until the following, say, 4 o'clock. But obviously it's only interactive from 6 to 9.
It's no good.
Pacific time.
It could be
Yeah, we're
anywhere
not going to see a flop there on that hand. And also, you can sign up for the archives because I mean the loop is only on from the next 24 hours, Dave.
And you actually cannot fast forward.
Yeah, you
or-
can't actually manipulate the stream.
Right.
But on the archives, if you click on the archive banner or the on-demand banner, upper left-hand corner of your screen, you can watch every show that we've ever done, Dave. It's a $14.95 subscription per month, only that amount. And
I can't believe it's still only $14.95.
Get you access to every single thing that we've done.
Shocking.
Commentary by Barry Greenstein. Commentary and analysis of her play by Kathy Lieber. Dave, that was one of my favorite shows, I gotta say. 7-way action here.
Yeah, Kathy's a sweetheart. And a great poker player at that.
8-7 deuce. You ever get the feeling, and I'm saying this when Shirley here is not in the booth, that a lot of the female poker players just don't like each other?
I think it's a woman thing.
Individually, they just don't like each other at all.
Yeah,
Turns at 9. And they got checked around, and Mike's going to bet 110 here. He's open-ended. Now, Hob is also open-ended.
Now, he's open-ended, but he also has the queen, so if a jack
That's
were to
right.
hit, he
He's
would have
got
the
the good
highest
straight.
part of it, right.
He's got the good straight. And it looks... And Mr. Kim has got ace-10 here, too. He's open-ended.
But if a jack falls, Mr. Kim might get in trouble here.
Yep. Now, obviously, you have to value your hands. Now, whenever you're going for a straight, and somebody else who might have the same open-ended straight, but obviously you've got the higher end of it. I mean, that's going to win you some implied odds as well there.
Oh.
And he's going to take you down.
And those are the times where you really, to me, I really want to overbet the pot. Let's say the board is like 8, 9, 10 jack.
Right.
And I think my opponent probably has a queen, and I have king, queen.
Right.
Well, I almost want to overbet it and really put him to the test.
Fly.
But I also want to overbet it when I only have the
Fly
queen.
status.
You know what I mean? If I'm only overbetting it when I have the goods, they'll pick up on that too.
Right. Mike is going to straddle here out of C3.
Straddle is obviously, it's a blind bet, twice the size of the big blind. And by doing that, Mike gets to act last, just on the first round, before
He
pre-flop.
has the option. Now, we don't allow live straddle here at the bike in limit games, although it is, I think, allowed in some casinos. Out of California, I guess is the word.
150
But this one's
more.
going to get limped around here. But look at that. Mike is going to raise it out of the straddle spot like he often likes to do, Dave. He's got king 8 of clubs. 150 more. And Hob's going to call, kind of playing the player here with king 10 of hearts.
Mhm.
Sure, he wouldn't call a player like George who raced out of the blind with king 10
I
of
think,
hearts.
it's about a $300 pot now, huh?
Yeah. Here we go to the flop. Jack, Jack 9. Let's see how this one
Now
plays
this
out.
in this case here, Hob is calling him, but Hob has position on him.
250.
Mike bets 250 here. And of course, Hob has the best hand right now.
Yeah, but he's in a razor fold situation here. He's got a gut shot.
But, the way that Corporation Mike plays, he should really start playing some more no-limit tournaments if he has the time for it, don't you think?
Yeah, he does play occasionally. I actually saw him. He played a couple of the legends.
And Hob is going to call. He's going to call. And, Dave, we've got about an $800 pot here going to the turn.
And neither player has. Oh wow.
Oh, and Mike hits an 8, and now Hob's open-ended.
Yeah. A 7 or a queen
Yeah.
will give. Actually, a 7, a queen, or
Mike
a king.
checks.
A king actually will give Hob the best hand here. Because
Right.
2 pair will play.
Mike checks. Let's see what Hob's going to do here. He checked right behind him. And the river's a 7, and there it is. There it is. And Mike's going to come out and bet.
And he's going to try to represent what Hob has.
He bets 250, and Hob is just going to call.
Yeah,
He's
I don't
just
think
going to call.
with the pair jack out there,
Yeah.
you just can't raise that hand there.
Yep.
There are just too many hands. You lose to 10 queen, you lose to jack something, you lose to a set.
And
And the likelihood is that Mike is bluffing,
Right.
and Mike will not call. There's not any value to raise.
that was a $1,300 pot.
Ace, queen, ace, king, you think that's good? I hit the 8, I thought it was good.
And again, we talk about, not necessarily raising with marginal hands there on the river. And I'm not saying a straight is, necessarily marginal, but in that situation, when you're up against a guy that might just be bluffing with nothing, do you really want to face a big re-raise? And Mike is really deep over there, right?
Well, there's the only value to raising is to not showing your hand.
Right.
But then again, if you don't show your hands,
Fly, big fly.
Mike doesn't have to show his hand. And there's some value to seeing what Mike is raising with.
Big fly.
But since it's probably not, you're not necessarily going to pick up a pattern on Mike. it's probably less valuable to see what Mike is raising with than somebody else, right?
Right.
That you don't know.
At the end, too, I like you slide slow.
And Hobb takes
I
down
mean,
a
the only
$1,300
value to
pot.
this, and I'll throw this at you, and I want to get to it in a second, to raising the river there.
Limped around here.
Anyone else, Mikey? 350 minimum.
Four-way action.
I don't know how much I could have bet on the turn to get you off. I knew I was good with my 8 hit, and I was hoping you would bet it.
Deuce 4-5 with a couple of diamonds.
Wow, look at
Victor's flopped a wheel in
Yeah.
seat 8.
Now, pocket 8s, Camilo might get in trouble here.
Well, it was limped around.
Yeah, but, well, you wonder here.
He's going to bet 45.
And I love it. Victor's bet right into his straight.
And a call there with pocket 8s.
Wow, smooth call, huh? Mike's got bottom pair.
Yeah. And he's going to call.
Oh,
Wow.
So this is the part of Mike's game that he's got to get rid of. You get a
Yeah.
bet, you get a call, and you have jack deuce.
Yeah.
You know, there's 2 diamonds out there. What do you want to
So
hit
if Mike
here?
gets a jack here, will he lose a lot of money? Or how about a deuce?
He might.
Boy, he's going to get in trouble. Here we
He
go to the
might.
turn. Turn's a 7.
And that doesn't change anything.
Neil still has the overpair. And he's
I
going
don't
to
think he
move
has
all
enough
in.
money here. What does he have?
He's going to move all in.
Looks like about $275.
Which means the pot's about $500 and it's $275 to call.
Problem is, those, you know, in a limped round pot, your opponent could have anything. He could have 5-4. He could have ace-3. He could have, I mean, anything. Who the heck knows?
Well, look at Camilo. Do you factor in the fact that if the guy might only be betting with pair or 2 pair, might my 8 be good? And now I've picked up a gut shot where if the 6 comes, it's good as well. Could I factor in the fact that I might have 6 outs right now? But it's still, he's only getting about 2 to 1 with 1 card to come. I just don't think the math is right for him to make this call. And it's actually 240, so the pot's
Well, if he
about
knows what his
450.
opponent has, obviously not.
Right.
If he thinks the chance that his opponent only has a 5, like ace-5, well, then he's fine. Or if he thinks that maybe his
Well,
opponent
he's
has,
going to make
like,
the call.
if he thinks maybe his opponent has diamonds and is semi-bluffing,
He's going to make the call here.
Talk about it later.
you know, but, you know, Mama said don't go broke in an unraised pot.
Here we go with the river. He misses. He needed his 6 to win. And Victor's going to take it down there with the flopped wheel. Played it hard the whole way and got paid off.
Donkey and keep on going with it, but
Nice play there.
I mean,
You know,
one
and
of the
if
other
And if he
reasons...
slow plays and slow plays and slow plays there, I'm sorry to interrupt you. If he slow plays and slow plays, and he waits till the king comes on the river, probably doesn't get paid off by 8s.
One of the other reasons why you can bet your hand is
you want
because
to know
most
later?
players
You wanna
will
know?
either check or check raise their big hands. And if you bet the hand, like you said, I mean, you immediately, I'm not saying that you put him on this hand, but might it be more likely that the guy, was betting with a flush draw or just a single pair instead of, say, check raising with
Right.
a wheel?
No, that 100%.
I think I bet
Big blinds over
300 on
there.
the turn, you're
I
still
still want to get to my betting those value raises in the river at some point.
what the hell you mean, maybe?
I think I'm going to write an article about that.
Turn makes it
I think I
better,
will.
man.
You call it king time, maybe he says.
Limped around here.
Picks up out.
6-way action.
$60 pot.
Here. One up here.
6 times 10. Ace, king, 5 with a couple of clubs.
A couple of players have 5s.
Who's that?
Seat 9's got an ace, 3,
Yes, sir.
Okay, there you go.
and he's going to bet.
50.
He bets 50. He's playing ace rag out in the field there, Dave. Interesting, just limping in there in mid position. Ace rag off suit, not
And the
really a
problem,
lot of
with, the
value.
problem with ace rag, you're going to win a small pot or lose a big one. Although, hey, ace 3 just won a huge pot.
Yeah, right? Well, yeah, but for its wheel value, though, right?
Exactly.
That's
Not for its ace value.
right.
Okay, I'm going to get to this really quick. Now, in Hobbs' case, by not raising the river with a straight there, one of the biggest problems with that is you start picking up a pattern of going, wait a second, he's only calling without the nuts. So if he were to raise later on and make it a bluff, well, I have to start going, okay, well, he wouldn't bluff me with a straight here. He has to have jacks full, or at least a full house at least, to raise me here. Which obviously you can start reading players and you can start reading their patterns, their betting patterns.
60.
You know who's there? Ali is there. A couple of Persian people.
Yes.
Wait, what?
Ali is there. Ali,
A $60 raise here
cultivate.
from seat 1. He's got ace 9 of hearts. That's Mr. Kim. And Corporation Mike is called, and Camilo has called. Flop a 7-7 deuce, a rainbow, and it's missed everybody. Not a bad flop from Mike there with pocket sixes, and he's going to bet on the button. $175 into a $180 pot. Nice bet there. Make people pay for their draws. And he's going to take it down, I think. I don't think anybody. I mean, Mr. Kim's got no pair, no draw. There's not even a heart out there.
Ace queen no good?
Mike asked him if ace queen's any good. He takes it down. Now I've taken that part into my game at least. When I'm playing No Limit Hold'em, and somebody makes a big bet that looks kind of strange, or a big raise in the river, you know, I really try to replay the hand, and I go, well, does this guy have the absolute nuts, and would this guy value bet without the absolute nuts on the river? And you can start kind of piecing piecing the puzzles together to get a full story. Button is moved over to seat 4. Blinds are 5 and 10. Hob is in the big blinds. First act is George. He throws it away. A couple of limpers in. And looks like we're getting almost like a family pot here. But nope, Mike's going to spoil that. He's going to raise it up here at 10-9 of hearts.
Yep. And seat 1 limped in there, Mr. Kim with ace-king. So let's see if Mr. Kim might pull the limp re-raise here on Mike.
Well, that's exactly what he might be doing. I mean, yeah, I think he is.
Yeah.
And that's part of the thing.
Looks like he's going to push pretty much almost all in here. He's going to move all in. Yep.
He knows the tell, too.
What happened?
85.
So Mike raised it to 85, and Kim's going to check, or limp re-raise all in here. And I don't think
and
Mike
George
even has
said,
enough gamble in him to make this call.
No, George's not going to call this. And George actually said, he goes, I guess Mr. Kim knows his tell too.
Right, yeah.
They're claiming that he has a tell. And obviously, I got to be honest with you, I like Mike's bet there. I like his raise. He's in the cutoff seat with 10-9 of hearts. Why not take control of the pot?
Got 2 sevens, I'll call. Oh, 10 good?
There it is. Mr. Kim is going to take it
10
too.
no good.
I mean, I tell you, we were talking about Russ Fox yesterday. And while it might be really tough for Russ Fox to get paid off against good players, you know, because what good player would pay Russ Fox off? Obviously?
Right.
You know, he's so tight. And in the same way, you look at a game like this, like a guy like Ollie or a guy like George. You know, you're going to pay these guys off. Although George has really mixed up his game, I got to give him credit. But Mike, give him credit, he really does get paid off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, probably, huh?
I mean, he plays like he should. You know, he plays with no regard for money, which is really how everybody should play.
Buttons in seat 5.
I see a lone ace for George. I'm not sure what the other card is.
Can't go $5?
Looks like I think it's ace 3.
Ace 3.
So we get 4-way action here. It's a $40 pot. 10, 10, 3 here. And it looks like we got trip 10s there in seat 2.
Yeah, and nobody else has anything here. That's Juan. And like I said, Juan is just, he'll just slow play this to death until he gets somebody to catch.
Is that his style? Turns an 8. Now he's going to bet. 2 hearts, 2 diamonds. Mike picked up an 8, and Mike's going to call, Dave.
Yeah, and Mike's got to pick up, Mike's got to pay attention to the players he's playing against.
Right.
So that's Juan there.
And Mike is drawing dead. There's no card that can help him. The river is a deuce. It's a diamond.
And look, you see Juan there? See, Juan is the type of player.
Juan just checked it at the
yeah.
end. Yeah.
Juan is the type of player that he does not bet his marginal hands, and I was just talking about this. Now, if Juan were to put a big bet in the river, you got to go, okay, this guy's got to have an absolute monster. Like he's got to have an ace-high flush or a king-high flush.
Maybe
I don't
pocket 8s or something
Yeah,
like
I don't even know
that.
if he bet that because there's a pair on the board.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It came out the other day.
So if he bets the river, you can almost say, well, it's either a bluff or he's got a monster. And if Mike had picked up on that earlier in the night when Juan actually bluffed Mike out of a pot with, I think, 8 high, you know, if he picked up on it and said, wait a second, Juan is betting the river. Why is Juan betting the river? He's either got absolute monster or he's got nothing.
Right.
Pretty much what happened today, right?
For your comedy show at night.
And next time you play No Limit Bar, take that into your game, I swear. It'll work.
You ever see that episode of Seinfeld?
Thanks,
Jerry
Dad.
has to wear the ruffles?
That's what I'm here for, buddy.
Actually watch it like
Look at this. C2's limped in with pocket aces, but no one's going to raise.
the puppy shirt.
And here we go. We're going to see six-way action, and Juan is going to see aces in an unraised pot. 5-3-7. I don't know if I like that there against
How
7
could you
people.
like that flop?
He's got the ace of clubs in his hand.
Yeah, that's the only thing you like about it.
Well, Victor's going to come out and he's going to bet. He's got top pair and a gut shot. He bets 55. And Juan is just going to call.
Yeah, he's going to call one time in position, see if Victor has the courage to bet one more time.
Well, Mike here, he's going to call.
What does he have?
King 10? Maybe he's calling to make a move. I'm not.
He's got the king of clubs.
Oh,
Now, Victor needs a 7, a 6, or a 4.
yep, to improve his hand. Here we go to the turn. Turn's a jack, so now Juan and Mike both have flush draws. And now Victor checks. Let's
This
see.
is the part of Mike's game I just don't understand.
And Juan didn't bet, and Mike took the card as well. And the river is a 7. Victor makes trips. Juan has the nut flush, and Mike has the second nut, but there's 4 clubs out there. Victor's going to bet. He's going to bet 75. And this one might just go call fold.
yeah.
150.
Well, Mike's going to mini raise to 150 here.
Okay, now I don't mind the mini raise from Mike as long as when Juan comes over the top of him, Mike throws it away.
Do you think that Juan might not come over the top of him
He
now,
might
though?
not.
The
There
board's
is
paired.
4, 6 of clubs
Yeah.
and the board pairing. He might not.
75.
He's just going to call Dave, it looks like. He just called. And he's going to take it down. He's going to turn over aces.
And
With
that's the
ace
kind of
clubs.
hand that Juan will bet. He'll bet his ace of clubs there, but he won't even raise it, re-raise
Right.
it. And probably the right play, obviously.
Yeah. I'm just really surprised that Juan didn't bet the turn. I mean, Victor checked the flop. Obviously, I don't like the board when it's 7 ways.
Yeah.
You know, and that comes out 5-7. But now the guy checks, so you probably don't think he has 2 pair, right? Unless he was betting into a flush draw and he made it. Well, he checks the turn. It's a high, kind of a blank card.
Yeah.
It makes makes a 3 flush. You almost got to think that your aces, there's a good chance that they're good right there, right? And you've got the nut flush draw.
Nobody
Yeah,
raised.
once in a while, a no-limit strategy I've seen people do.
I said 2 aces. I'm ready to throw it away. Everybody comes in.
Once in a while, a strategy I've seen done in no-limit hold'em is somebody will flop the nuts, will bet it once to see where they're at. They get called 2 or 3 times in 2 spots or 3 spots. Then they'll check check the turn to try to let somebody bet at it. Try to kind of feign weakness.
So Juan might have been checking it to try to see a river with his club. He didn't want to get check raised, you mean?
He might have, yeah. I mean, like I said, Juan plays it pretty passive. He plays it to trap people.
I understand what you're saying, and I know I've seen people do that, but I don't necessarily think that getting scared of betting because of the possibility of check raising is a winning strategy in this game.
No, I happen to agree with you. I don't think it is either. I mean, I got to be honest with you, the more I've played with Juan, I've only played with him, say, maybe about 10 times now. I really am loath to give him any action whatsoever. I mean, in fact, I was playing with him about 4 days ago. He limped in an early position, limp. I had jacks on the button, and I raised it up to about $100. I got a caller in between, and then he raised it up to 500, and it was about the easiest muck in the world.
Right.
From him, I just wasn't sure what color his aces were. That was it. Pretty much the only thing that was in doubt.
Live straddle. And we're going to see 5-way action. So that's a $100 pot. It's actually 6 times 20. 120 in the pot. 9-4-3. Well, Mike's got a flush draw.
Victor's Victor's open-ended here.
He's going to get checked to Mike, and he's going to bet. He's going to semi-bluff. He bets 90. And it doesn't look like anyone really hit the board in terms of a pair. Victor calls. Kind of dangerous, though. You talk about it. If he hits a straight and it's a spade, where's he going to be at? He doesn't have that much money in front of him. Here we go to the turn. Turn is an 8. That's no help. Neither player has a pair still. Mike's ahead with king high.
4 or 500.
And Mike's asking him how much does he have left. Mike's going to check. And Victor
And
takes
king
the card.
high is good right now.
And the river is a king, so he makes a pair of kings, and
Yeah.
now Mike's going to bet.
175.
And I like the bet here. I gotta tell you, I like the bet here. If Victor was calling him with some, like 9 or 10-9 or something like that, if he had spades, okay, he has spades. But if he had a 9 there,
We got a side bet over here.
maybe you get paid.
Both miss spades?
Would he check a 9, though, on the turn?
No, you
Victor might, I don't know. I mean, I don't know him well enough. Who knows? You wouldn't think he would, but
Yeah. Or could you possibly
You
check
wouldn't-
the river to induce a bluff from a missed draw, which in
Right.
case that's what the guy had.
Yeah, maybe.
And maybe, maybe Victor bets the river there. Mike, figuring Mike just threw one bullet. I can't win in a showdown. I have 6 high.
Right. Yeah, you never know in this game. I mean,
Yeah.
would you think Juan would check aces on the turn there? No, he
Right,
does.
right,
I mean,
right.
sometimes it's amazing.
So George here, 2,700. Now Hav has moved up. He's up about 800 or 900 for the night. Juan's up too, and Mike is down. I think Mike bought in for 2,000, so he's down about 600. We got 3-way action here. Pocket 8's over there for seat 8. I believe he raised a little bit pre-flop. King, Queen, Deuce.
45.
And Mike's going to bet right in here, 45.
He's
Maybe,
got
maybe
nothing.
it was Mike that raised pre-flop.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah, and he's going to take it down.
Yeah. Now, you see Mike here. The funny thing about Mike, if somebody's actually keeping score, Mike's probably won 14 hands. Out of the hands that he's really been involved in, he's probably won 14 and lost 2. But he's down $500.
Right.
And that's what he's got to get rid of. He's got to get rid of losing those big, big pots.
Button moves over here to seat number 8.
How did George with the Godfather? He's not the fucking Godfather.
Excuse me, seat 2, Dave. I sometimes confuse myself when I go backwards on our little oval table.
Oh,
All right. You guys can fight for that one.
Because here it's counterclockwise, isn't it? No, actually it is clockwise.
yeah.
But it starts from about 9 o'clock, right? Limped around here, and Ace Queen here in seat 9. He's going to raise it up to 55. That's Camilo.
Thank you. 65.
65.
Trouble coming.
And even Mike's not going to play 9 deuce from the small blind.
Yeah, that's true.
Funny thing about seat 4, we haven't seen him really play a lot of hands. We also haven't seen him his cards because he refuses to put the cards in the window.
Well, yeah, to be honest with you, we haven't seen anybody play a lot of hands except for Mike.
Yeah. Button moves over here to seat 3.
Thank you.
Mike. So you think we're going to see a raise here on the button? Might you limp in here with a big pocket pair when Mike has the button?
Oh, I think without it,
Yeah,
we saw Mr. Kim do it before.
right.
Why not?
Might you also limp in and then just call his raise and then say check raise him on the flop?
Oh, well,
Get it
if
heads
nobody
up.
else is involved,
Right.
yes.
I know you had one. I was like,
Yeah,
well, you're
when I
going to
call-
play at me. Maybe you go 2. I don't know.
The thing is, I better land.
The problem is that you never know what he has. He could be raising with 4-6 suited.
Because you already play your one. So I just don't want to go to
So you're thinking you're trapping him, but you could be trapped yourself.
You know what I mean?
You made the right move. Wasn't a bad play.
This is your bad way, sure.
Well, Mike's got jack 9 offsuit on the button.
If nobody, well, once in a while he mixes it up though. He knows that people are on to him. He knows they're limping in with big hands. So sometimes he'll go, okay, I'll just limp in.
Well,
And
there you
they're
go. He's going to limp in. Not necessarily that jack 9 offsuit is a big hand, but I'm sure it's enough for Mike to raise in position. But we're going to see 7-way action here, and it's a $70 pot. Queen 6-8. Victor's got top pair here.
Yeah, top pair, decent kicker, nothing special.
Kim has got a flush draw, Mr. Kim in seat 1. So does George, and George's got a pair. And he's going to come out and bet here with the flush draw and the pair.
Now I'll just keep track of Mike here. Mike's got the gut shot, which is usually enough for him to stay in.
See what Victor does here. He's just going to call. Now, Kim has got the flush draw as well, and Kim has got the higher flush draw than George.
You gotta like George's hand here though, with a pair and a flush draw.
Not helping, you know.
Unfortunately for him, he's behind now.
I got to go and play.
Now, a lot of times people come and say, Dave, oh, look at that, Mr. Kim folds.
The only thing is, why are you limping in with Jack 7 suited? If the flop comes out like that, you're just gonna throw it away anyway.
Mike folds the Jack 9, possibly playing the player.
I have no problem throwing away Jack 7 suited when you get a little, you don't want to go for second best.
Right. Here we go to the turn. Turn's a 5.
Well, that doesn't
And
change
now
anything.
Kim would have been open-ended with the flush draw.
I just don't understand what's the point of limping in with that.
And George's going to... He's almost putting in like a little blocking bet here, Dave. He's going to bet 125.
But I don't think this guy has enough now to get away from it, though. If this guy moves all in, what do you do?
And he's just continuing to call. The guy's just continuing to call. The pot's about 450. You can see the look on George's face.
Yeah, he didn't like that.
And the river's an ace.
Well, let's see if George can use that as a scare card. I'm not sure if Victor has enough to get him off the hand, though.
And he's going to bet 300. And it looked like George thought the guy might have been trying to fake him out.
Yeah,
But he actually was going to call anyways. And maybe he was thinking, well, boy, this guy's playing it like he's got a weak king, weak queen. Can I represent maybe the nut flush draw here? And I picked up an ace on the river, but the guy called him down all the way.
You know what's really funny there? If George was kind of looking out of his left eye to see if the guy was going to call, and it really
Right.
looked like he was going to call,
Right.
but a lot of times he was just pointing
That
it out.
means nothing. Yeah.
A lot of times people will pretend they're going to move in.
Right. Or they'll fake out like, I'm going to call.
And we talked about it last night, though. I just don't think Victor had enough money left to get him off the hands. You know what I mean? The pot's like almost $500 when you're putting in 150 or something. So.
Big blind, sir?
Big blind here is in seat 6's hand. And that's midnight hob. We got pocket aces here for Juan again in seat 2.
Now he's in late position. I want to see how he plays this in late position. Really curious.
I don't think he's going to limp.
Now Mike's got Jack and he's got Bird.
Well, he's got Jack 9 of diamonds. I mean, that might be a hand that you might call against Juan, hoping that he's got an overpair and maybe you hit something.
When Juan raises, he doesn't raise with ace queen.
Right.
Juan doesn't raise. I mean, we'll see. Count the amount of times that Juan raises tonight. That's the first time he's raised all night.
Look at this. George is called from up front with ace queen, though. $75 raise. We've got three-way action here.
$235 pot now.
Oh, queen, queen, jack.
Oh, wow.
So George has got trip queens. Let's see how he's going to play it.
And Mike's got 2 pair, and Juan has 2 pair, and obviously is way behind.
George is going to come out and bet.
Buck and a quarter.
He's going to bet $125 here. And let's see what Juan is going to do.
Now, this is the reason you bet it right into it.
Juan's just going to call.
Well, he wants to see where he's at here. You know, George bet right into him.
Yep.
You know, which a lot of times represents strength. Good players will bet their hands right into the
No,
raises.
obviously the only thing that you could be scared of if you're George here is most likely pocket jacks if a low blank card comes on.
Good
the
lay
turn.
down by Mike there.
Yeah.
Pretty easy lay down with a bet and a call, but I like it.
Pots in the high 400s now. Here we go to the turn. The turn's a 7. That's pretty safe.
Now, this is a time where George might check it. This is a time where you might check it. You bet it once, you represent the jack, and then you check it once
Well, he's going to bet again.
as if you were scared that the guy just called you.
He's going to bet 320 here. So the pot now, let's say it's about $800, and it's 320 for Juan to call.
And the reason why I like to check on the turn here, to be honest with you, is sometimes you go, wait a second. Think about it. If you had a jack and you bet, and the guy called you, you're almost scared a little bit.
He's going to make the call.
Yeah.
Pot's over $1,000 now. Here we go to the river. River's a 7. It's a heart.
No, it's a full house, though. It's 2 double-paired board
That's right.
out there.
And George has made the full house. And he's going to bet here again.
5.
He's going to bet 500. He's bet at Juan the whole time.
Yeah.
And Juan does not look pleased here. Give Juan credit. He's going to get away from it.
Yeah, but, well, I don't know.
Jack 10 good?
Why'd you call the turn, though? If you're Juan. I mean, I got to be honest with you. I think Juan thought he was beating the turn. He just reluctantly
It
called.
was just like a crying call. Yeah.
Obviously. I mean, he didn't even call the river. The 7 doesn't change anything, does it? What, do you think George is in there with running 7s? I mean,
Well, maybe Juan also thought that, well, the guy could have been betting a flush draw, although it's usually not in George's realm to do that. Now, yeah, the board's double paired, but aces can't beat a flush either.
okay, so if George makes his flush, you think he's going to bet at the river? I mean, that's one of those. You got to start looking at it going, okay, what kind of hand would George bet the river? He's going to bet either a full house, he's going to bet the nuts, or he's going to bluff. Well, there's no bluff that he could have had.
Well, you're saying that might have been a marginal hand at the river with a flush with a double paired board, but how do you put one on a queen or a 7 the way that he played the hand, though?
I understand what you're saying. You can't put him on a queen or a 7. But the question is, does George bet a flush there on the river?
Yes.
I don't think in a million years he bets it.
Because the board's double paired?
Yeah. I don't think George bets it. You and I can sit here and go, yeah, it's an easy bet.
7-way action. 7-6 deuce here with a couple spades.
And remember, you can't put Juan on a queen because you have a queen. But if you bet once and he calls you, then you bet again and he calls you. You don't think maybe he has a queen? He doesn't have to raise. Remember, he's got the queen.
Turns a queen. BJ's got a flush draw now.
Or act like it?
George is going to come out and bet, though.
Oh, I think he just gave you a nickname.
And we can't see what George has. We're playing this hand hidden. Pot was limped around George's bet. BJ's called here with the flush draw. And I think it was checked around on the flop. So let's say, what does George have? Again, I think it was limped around and checked around. George bet on the turn. And actually, we can see what George has now. And the river's a club, and BJ makes a flush.
Backs into it. And you know, George might not see this.
210.
Well, he checked the river. And BJ's going to bet 210, and George doesn't call.
Yeah. Gets away from King Queen.
But look at this. Camilo had ace queen. He's going to make the call. So maybe George wasn't calling because Camilo was possibly also
Yeah.
behind him. And BJ's going to take it down
Well, that
there.
8 of clubs is a pretty scary card.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. And again, George bet the turn, and Camilo just called with the ace queen.
I'm just back to the little hand there was ace queen versus aces. I'm just playing devil's advocate there. Obviously, there's a million ways you can play hands, and obviously, the whole reason we do this show, obviously for entertainment purposes, is to learn and to continue to learn playing. You know, one of the ways I like to play that hand sometimes is if you bet with the ace, if you bet with a board of queen, queen, jack, and you get called. Now, if you were betting with a jack, you might bet out if you had a jack, right? Now, if you get called, it's kind of scary, right? You go, wow, okay, the guy called me. What does he have? You know, if you don't have the queen, he might.
That's been raised.
Again, we sometimes get hindered also when we talk about this because we know the players so well.
Yeah.
Number one, I don't think George is going to bet out with the jack. Number two, if he's betting out with the flush draw, he's not going to fire twice.
Right.
So it's kind of,
Right,
you know.
exactly. We know George and we know Juan pretty well.
Right. Now, Mike raised to 45 here.
I mean, I guess my only point is he bets once, right? Okay, then he bets a second time.
Right.
He shows no fear whatsoever.
Right.
Okay, what do you think he has?
4 players.
We got four-way action here. Mike raised there with the 6-7. And I want to say it's almost about a $250 pot. Deuce 3-4. Look at Victor's got bottom, or top and bottom. BJ's got the overpair, and Mike's got a gut shot to the 5.
Now,
And
Mike's-
it's the good straight if he hits a 5.
Yeah, Mike's hand is interesting because sometimes if you put a guy on if you put somebody on one pair, you think a 5, a 6, or a 7 are good.
BJ just calls, and Victor is going to check raise all in here. He's going to check raise all in with top and bottom.
And that'll probably get Mike out of the hand.
But is BJ going to be involved, though? He's got pocket 10s.
Now, the problem with pocket 10s in this case is, am I drawing dead? Almost dead, that is. Yeah, it does have a 10 of spades, just in case he gets running spades.
Oh, he's going to fold it. Well, he has more money now in his stack, Dave. If you only had a little left and you think the guy, oh, maybe he's got 2 pair. Maybe I can make the call if the pot odds are
Right.
dictating. Or maybe the guy's making just a semi-bluff. Some sort of straight draw with the flush draw, pair with the flush draw. But in this case, he had more money behind. And, again, it's kind of one of those things where you've got 2 pair there. You want to put money into the pot, but you're really not happy with just betting out there because the board's so connected. What are you really trying to see on the turn with deuce 4? That's going to be really a good card for you. You know, maybe like a 10 of diamonds.
Right, 10 of diamonds is obviously no good because you had pocket 10s.
Right, well.
But yeah, you don't know what's good
Right.
in the end.
Button's going to move over here to George.
Just because you're in, man, I haven't seen my cards.
I'll tell you what,
Limped around.
blood drawing playing this game.
4-way action here.
They have another one going too, right?
That one's a real peach, too.
King 10-7 with a couple of hearts. And this is one of the first times we haven't seen Mike play a hand, Dave.
Mike's not in the hand? What's going on?
Turn is a deuce here.
Victor's got the best hand here, a pair of 9s. And he's going to bet it.
$30.
I think that's going to be enough to take it down.
Looks that way.
Yeah, George shows him the deuce and throws. That's it.
Something shady. Pretty shady.
So we played last night.
Button moves over there to seat 8.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, you would imagine Mike's style would be very would work well in tournaments. Where
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
obviously where you've got to play it aggressive, where you've got to accumulate chips.
Yeah.
In a cash game, obviously, his aggressiveness obviously doesn't always work.
Well, you don't need to accumulate chips. People can really kind of wait on you and trap you, especially in this game. You know, it's
Well,
just
right. In a tournament, obviously, you've got to have all the chips. In a cash game, I don't need to be the big winner every night. As long as I'm a winner, I don't care.
limped around here.
5 players here.
5-way action. Well, 10-9-7, 2 clubs. Mike's got top pair and he's open-ended, and he's going to bet 50.
And he has a 10 of clubs in his hands. A lot of clubs out there, though.
BJ's going to call with a gut shot here. Now, it would be a lot different if it was queen jack, right, Dave, as opposed to ace jack. Because if the
I
8
think
were
so.
to come up,
Exactly.
you know. Turns a club. BJ's got the jack of clubs. Mike checks. And BJ's going to take a card. And the river is an 8, and BJ makes it, and Mike's got 2 pair. And Mike's going to bet. He bets 100, and BJ raises. And Mike is going to fold. And again, might that be another situation where you would just call? Well, obviously Mike didn't call the raise.
Yeah, no, you're right, definitely.
Yeah.
I was just amazed how fast BJ raced already.
Right.
I mean, he did it so quickly that there was no way it was a bluff, you know what I mean?
Now, we got a new player coming in seat 9. That's Francois. Some of the, seat 1, excuse me. Some of the, viewers, longtime viewers of Live at the Bike might know him as Gay Undertone Francois.
Live straddle here.
Hey, his girlfriend is hot.
Yeah.
hot girlfriend. Yeah. Isaac is like, I don't know, Isaac is like throwing around the whip or something, like he wants to whip her. Oh. He's referring to something completely different.
The button's going to move over to seat 9.
Once again, we are live at the Bike, folks. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hansen. We're playing No Limit Hold'em. Blinds are 5 and 10. New player in seat 1, Francois. Have you ever played with Francois?
Yes, I have. He's a pretty solid player.
Pretty solid player.
Now, Mike is going to raise here out of the straddle spot. Again, he had ace high. And he's going to take it down there against Camilo. Excuse me, that's against Francois now. You know, some guys can't pull off the bald-headed look, Dave, but I think it suits Mike well.
Yeah.
Were you in the booth? You know what I'm talking about when we call him Undertone Francois? Were you in that booth
I
for
wasn't
that
in
show?
there,
Okay,
no,
maybe
no.
that's why you
I've heard it now numerous times,
okay.
but I wasn't here then.
Well, it was a forward lateral.
No, it wasn't.
Look at that.
Forward.
But isn't he dating, I want to say Lexi?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The guy would have been paying attention.
Yeah, he's touchdown.
Lexi is one of the dealers here at the bike. She used to be a chip runner.
What the hell was he looking at?
Was she a dealer now?
Yeah, over
Okay.
in the blackjack section.
Okay, great.
That makes no sense to me. I mean, $50.
Francois is going to raise here to 50.
Pot has been raised.
Actually, that is Camilo. I'm sorry. Francois is in seat 1. Camilo's got king, queen suited. He raises to 50. Mike's going to fold a hand. And BJ had ace-5 suited. He folds.
Yeah, out of position, heads up, it's a good fold. You don't really want to take ace-5 suited out of position
Yeah.
against one player.
There's Mo.
What about the face mask that kept the drive alive?
I know, how sick was that?
And that's the that little door back there, Dave. Is the door you can get a safety deposit
That
box
was
here at the
fourth.
bike.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There were so many beats, it's like,
Let's follow Mo in
Get
there.
him in there.
Put a little cam on his head. See what he's doing. Little Mo cam.
I know I had.
Now Mike's got Jack 9 offsuit, a hand that he's had several times tonight. Let's see how he's going to play it this time. Francois is going to limp in. He's got ace-4 of spades. And Mike is going to raise. 50
And this time he's going to raise on the button.
Well, he's heads up. He's on the button. Last time, remember, it was super multi-way.
And Francois throws it away.
No, he's going to call.
He is, okay. I thought he threw it away.
So it's about a $105 pot going heads up. 6-8-8. Francois checks.
Mike's got a...
Mike bets. Mike's got overcards.
Yeah, he's got nothing.
She's got overcards. And it looks like Francois might have only bought in for the minimum there, Dave. Maybe only 500.
Yeah,
So there
Francois
isn't a lot-
usually... Yeah, he usually plays a 200 game with a 3 to 5 game. This seems a little higher than he normally plays.
There isn't a lot of, he doesn't have a lot of room for movement here with just 500 bucks, you know.
Either way, you gotta call you gotta either way, sir.
Keep pushing me those big pots, you know?
You're counting over there, keeping track of that for you?
Now, I'm just curious now. You have ace-queen against Juan there. Same hand. You have George's hand. Would you bet that? Would you play it like George did? Because he kind of made the minimum on it, didn't he?
Try again.
I don't really have a problem with playing it that way. I mean,
Right.
I mean, I understand what you're trying to say. That I mean, he did get a call.
He did get the call, which is surprising.
He did get a
actually.
call on the turn. I mean, if he checked and he check raised Juan, I don't think Juan's going to call. So I don't know if he made the minimum on
He
the
might
hand.
not have made it anymore. Maybe I guess
Yeah.
if he checks the turn.
Yeah.
If he checks the turn, Juan is probably going to check behind him the way Juan plays.
Yeah.
And then you bet the river. You make a nice little value bet on the river of $300. So Maybe Juan calls 300 on the river. It's probably the same anyway.
Looks like Mike raised here at deuce 4 this time.
He's taking it down.
He's going to take it down. You know, it's just, it really is player dependent. I mean, so many of these questions that we ask are so player dependent. If I was playing against Juan, well, I think that Juan knows I'm the commentator of this show, but he hasn't necessarily played with me that much. I maybe can count the amount of times I've played with him on my hand.
Right.
Now, he knows George.
And for those of you at home, that would be 5 or less.
Right.
Go ahead.
So, I mean, now he knows George, so it might be a little bit different. You know, he might think, well, you know, I might bet the flop and then check because I might fire out with a jack, and maybe he thinks he has the best hand.
Right.
But against George, it might be a little bit different. But I am surprised that you're right, that he did call the turn.
Don't be raising my big blind. Flop's been raised.
I just don't understand. If you're going to call the rate, if you're going to call the turn, why not call the river? What, did something change on the river?
Well, again, maybe he thought he was just using his position to see if George was ever going to shut down.
Right.
There's no beat this time.
One right after a bluff, right?
Primo hand.
One right after the bluff.
Now we've got 4-way action here. We had a $40 raise here by Mike, of course. And Mike is flopped top pair and he's open-ended. Good flop for 7-6. Look at that backdoor flush draw. He's going to bet. He bets 100. Now BJ's got a gut shot here again to the 7. He calls. He's got an overcard as well.
You got to look at that flop, though. I mean, if the 7 comes, you really think you're going to get any action?
Victor's going to call with ace-5.
And that's not like $10 a turn. That's a $100 bet. That's the kind of action Mike gets.
Turns a queen. Mike still has the best hand, but now he checks. And everybody checks.
Why is Mike checking?
I don't know why Mike checked the turn there. And the river's a deuce.
That doesn't change anything.
No one has a 3. And Mike's going to bet again.
He might get paid off here.
275.
He's going to bet 275. You mean by the ace-5 here?
Maybe. I mean, remember, it's Mike.
He's bet 275 here into about a $500 pot.
Now, nobody else would get paid off except maybe Mike.
I don't mind a call.
And he says, I don't mind a call. And he says, if you get a 5, that's good. That's what he said.
Oh, look at Mike. The longer you take, the more I want to call.
75.
And he's going to get called. He's going to get paid off. And Mike's going to take it down there with the 6. Again, I don't know why Mike didn't bet the turn. I mean, how is that? I mean, that's about as good a turn card as you're going to have when you have top pair on that type of flop, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the only card you might be scared of, you might be scared of an ace, actually, if somebody sits there with like ace-5
Right.
or ace-4.
Right.
Yeah, worth that.
But then again, you know, maybe by checking it once, he induced a call on the river. So part of the thing that's so dangerous about Mike is that he's so unconventional.
What else? Hit another?
You never really know what he has.
Give me hands like that, I might
My blind, George.
There was a flash.
Francois's out of there, Dave. One hand, and he's gone.
I guess he didn't like the lineup of the game. Or maybe he saw an easier 200 game or an easier 3 to 5 game.
Maybe somebody called him and said that I was giving him a hard time with the undertone thing.
My favorite hand. 7-2.
And Mike is raised here again. He's got 3-5 offsuit. Or excuse me. No, Juan had limped in with 3-5 offsuit. This one's just limped around.
And Mike's actually not in the hand.
Surprisingly.
He might have raised anyway, though.
No, I would have
But look, you know, it's really interesting how BJ plays it so passively. But once again, you know, we see it with a lot of players. His pre-flop hand selection is really somewhat suspect.
And there's Juan taking a shot at it. That's about as much as Juan will throw in there on a shot. He'll take one shot. He gets called. But he figures he can get it once in a while. Every once in a while, he'll steal a pot, stay afloat.
And I mean, we see these types of players that play. It's almost the worst way that you can play, because I mean, actually, you would characterize it as loose passive. I mean, some people say, well, isn't weak tight worse? Well, it's weak loose, right? Isn't that worse than weak tight?
Well, I guess so, because at least weak tight,
Right.
Weak tight, you bleed slowly.
Right. Some people in the background are laughing about my weak loose comment. I don't know what they're thinking.
Well, I'm just not sure. Well, the only thing I'm wondering is, you know, is it better to fade away or burn out quickly? I don't know. Either way, you're going to lose money.
4-way action. Limped around. Ace 3-8. A couple people have aces here.
Yep. Seat 7, George is in kicker problems, but I don't think George will get himself in trouble. I'm surprised George is even in there with ace 6
Well,
offsuit.
BJ checked it, and George checked the ace. Wow. Turn is an 8.
That doesn't change anything. BJ's hand is still
And
good with ace 10.
BJ's checked the ace again. And now George is going to bet.
50.
Trap, 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 I guess. And he makes the call.
And I imagine he's going to go check on the river.
Hey, what do you put BJ on here? The river's a jack, maybe a heart draw.
You can't beat anything.
Yeah.
And George isn't going to bet this.
No.
And once again, you see how George does not bet a hand where he doesn't. You know what I mean?
This is going to get chopped up, though.
It's a marginal hand. The jack saved him, right?
Yeah.
But a marginal hand he's not going to bet. And I don't mind, obviously, not betting that hand, obviously. But
I just think it's really difficult to put BJ on an ace that's the hand the way that played out. I mean,
yeah.
check the flop, check the turn. Button's going to move over here to George, or to seat 8. We haven't seen Hav play that much this whole show either, Dave.
Yeah, Hav has really, really tightened up his game. He plays very few hands, plays them strong, he plays them aggressive, and it's a winning style.
And somebody asked here on the 2+2 thread, is Francois friends with Jean-Robert Ballant? Because he has a French name. Actually, Francois is Libyan, I think. So Libyan, was a French colony, wasn't it? I'm not.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, my
I think you're
northern
right.
African geography is a little bit sparse, but
Well, the geography's fine, the history's weird.
History.
Not sure.
you're right. The geography is fine. I made it to the National Geography Bee back in '91.
Really?
4-way action here. We had a raise here by George. with
Wait a second, I'm not
6-7.
going to let you up that quick. Are you kidding?
State. I should have made it to the Nationals. Ace, King, 4. No, I was quite the geography buff when I was in middle school, Dave.
You're in middle school?
Yeah. Geography B is when you're 12 years
Stop. Please, stop now.
old. Turns to 6. You're the one that kept pushing with it.
God.
50.
150 here. And look at that. Juan's going to make another bluff at it here.
Wow.
With
Juan's really getting aggressive now.
and Camilo makes the call here with the king.
Heads up.
It got checked around on the flop. And here we go to the river. And the river here is a jack, and now Camilo's made 2 pair. He checks.
Is Juan going to try one more time?
He's going to bet 225 here.
Wow.
And Camilo's going to check call.
This is a part of the game that I did not know Juan even had in his rapport. I got to be honest.
Yep. And Camilo's going to take it down. What's interesting, though, even the way that hand went out there, Dave, I mean...
And Juan, I don't think Juan showed.
No, he didn't
Juan
show.
just tossed it right in the muck.
I mean, the other thing, too, is that George raised pre-flop. I mean, the flop came out ace, king, 4. There were 4 people in the pot, but he decided not to fire at it. If he had bet right there, he probably would have taken it down. Going back 2 streets.
Yeah.
Small, big.
Wow, Dave. Getting word that we have an old friend of Live the Bike coming on the show.
What's his name?
Jonas.
Jonas?
So it's going to be fun to see Jonas and Corporation Mike in the same game. I don't know if... I think it's been a long time coming. I don't know if Isaac has the Weezer song loaded up in the VT4 machine.
And I tell you, a night like tonight kind of confirms what you've been talking about. Starting our show, and I'm curious actually, people can email us and let us know on 2+2 and Full Contact what you think about it. We're thinking of starting our show at 7 o'clock and going from 7 to 10 instead of from 6 to 9. And obviously, you can watch the show whenever you want to because we're on a 24-hour loop now. But we've been pushing for that. But obviously, it is hard sometimes to get people in at 6 o'clock due to traffic and so forth and work and whatever it is. But the games get really good later on in the night here.
It's going to get checked to Victor. Well, I think part of the other reason why, we might be able to do that now, Dave, is because before we felt, well, we might be a little bit alienating the East Coast of this country. But now that it's on a loop all the time, I mean, you can pretty much catch it whenever.
That's the reason why.
Yeah.
Obviously, we should start the show whenever we can get the best games.
Right. 6 o'clock is an odd time, especially in LA, to get people down here. That's why sometimes there's, the game
Well,
starts off
in
slow.
most casinos, 4 o'clock to say 7 o'clock is kind of the dead man's
Right.
3 hours because
Right.
people are leaving to avoid traffic,
Yeah.
and people aren't coming until 7 o'clock or so. But obviously, if you're on the East Coast and you still want to catch the show when you want to catch the show, you can.
Right.
But obviously, it will only be interactive
I mean,
when
moving
it's
the show
live.
from 7 to 10, I mean, aren't people up at 1 a.m. anyways?
Well, I mean, that's not the end of the show, actually. I mean, it starts at 10 o'clock.
Right.
But we'll see. We'll see how people respond to that. You can email us at live@thebike.com or respond via 2+2.
There he is, Jonas.
And I've seen Jonas down here a couple times playing in this smaller game. You wonder now, and Jonas is a great guy, you wonder if, I know he was playing bigger no-limit games, you wonder if he heard the games were really good here, or if he took a big hit in the 2040 game. 2040 no-limit game is trying to, pare his game down a little bit. You never know.
Jonas is a 2+2er. His name is Riverboat King.
Riverboat King.
Often will post up in the no-limit high-stakes form over there.
I'm a big fan of his game. I mean, I really like his game. He's the kind of player, he can play ABC if he has to. He can mix it up if he has to. He really changes his style to adapt to the table he's playing at. And it'll be interesting to see him, go heads up here with Mike, Havel.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Georgian.
Looks like he's got a rack of yellow in front of him, Dave. We'll get word of how much he's going to actually buy in for.
And sometimes it's funny. Sometimes Jonas will buy in for the minimum, depending. It really depends on the table he's playing at.
No, he's got white chips there. Yeah. Probably 2,700.
That's a good guess.
It was kind of a guess because I heard him say it.
I was going to give you like Rain Man quality. But come on, you got to let me give you credit.
Seat 4 has the button. Limp. Jonas there's got 8-7. He's going to check it in the post. And Mike is away from the table right now. We'd love to see when Mike gets back how these two are going to, butt heads, Jonas and Mike. Well, C4's got ace-king there, and he did not raise.
And where was the button?
And he's on the button? Yeah, and he didn't raise.
And look at Jonas. Welcome to the game, Jonas. You flop a full house.
Yep. Jonas is going to bet right at the full house, Dave. He bets 40. Unfortunately
it's an
for him.
unraised pot. He's got to hope somebody has something, but it's...
Yeah. I guess he should have checked.
Hindsight 2020 there.
Right. Well, that board was fairly connected. There was a 2 flush out there, too, wasn't there?
Yeah, I'd like to see him just get up and leave now. We win $50.
Right.
Thank you, guys. Won my dinner. I'm out of
And
here.
I think that Jonas actually commented on the fact that if Mike brings more money onto the table, he will match it.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see these two go heads up.
That does not surprise me at all.
We had a whale night, and one time Jonas and Vic Park went head-to-head. One guy had deuce 5, the other guy had 3-5. That was really an interesting hand. And nothing, but they just kept re-raising each other. I think Vic pulled the limp re-raise under the gun with deuce 5.
So who finally gave in?
Well, Jonas showed a lot of strength on the flop. Vic checked him on the turn. He bet and took it down. 4-way action here.
4 players.
I believe that Jonas brought this one in, the suited connector, for about $40. It's a $160 pot going 4 ways. Ace 4-8.
Nobody's got an ace here. If Jonas wants to, can probably take this one away.
Yeah, he's going to bet at it. He has a gut shot to the 7. Bets 150.
I noticed that Jonas, he bets his full house and he bets his nothing.
Right. But we've been seeing Victor call down here with second pair all night long, Dave. Sometimes
this time it's a
bottom
little
pair.
scarier, though, because remember, Jonas was the pre-flop raiser. There's an ace out there.
Yep.
It's kind of the ultimate scare card.
Jonas takes it down.
And that little mini raise there, he kind of wins a little bigger pot.
Yep.
The one thing I love about poker is no matter who you're talking to, no matter how good you get, no matter how many years you play, you can always learn and you can always debate. What's great about Sites 2+2, it's great about our show. Sit there and really bring out the, everybody's arguments for everything.
Well, Freddie's got pocket 9s. He just limps in over there in seat 5. Hobbs going to come in. King Jack suited. He didn't raise from the button. And again, once now Mike is gone, it's just a bunch of, passive limping.
Well, yeah, although Jonas obviously changes it up a little bit. But Jonas doesn't mind seeing a flop with pocket threes here.
Six-way action here.
Oh, wow.
Oh, Freddie's flopped the full house. Does anyone have a deuce? It's Juan. He's got deuce 5.
Now, Juan's got trip this. Now, Juan will play this slow. You'll see.
Well, did he?
Oh, Freddie's got no money, though.
Did Juan make a bet here?
He did.
He bet 60. Freddie's just gonna call. Yeah,
Freddie's
Freddie
got no
only's
money,
got about
though.
$150 left. Well, there isn't a whole lot that Freddie can really be scared of here when you flop top full house.
Well, what is Freddie? What is he slow playing? He's just hoping somebody will call behind him, I guess.
At this point, if you're Juan, are you afraid that you might be outkicked turns?
Of course you are, but what do you care?
Yeah,
the
you're
guy
not
only
gonna-
has like $60 left.
Yeah, he's gonna bet. Pretty much put Freddie all in.
Yeah.
And Juan needs to catch the case deuce here. Wouldn't that be a beat, Dave? And the river's an ace. Nine's full.
That's about how it goes, man. Deuce.
Gonna take it down.
Well, you know what? When the flop is 9 deuce deuce and you have deuce 5 and you bet and you get called and then you bet and you get called again, your deuce 5 is rarely going to be good.
Right. Right.
Oh, you win. Maybe you win one time.
Button moves over there to seat 7. Big blind in seat 9. Queen Jack suited here. Pocket kings for seat 9.
Yeah,
in
he's
the
a
big
big
blind.
blind.
Yep.
It's be interesting to see how he plays it. in
See
the
if
big
George
blind.
is going to raise it up here a little bit with Queen Jack suited on the button. Looks like he is going to.
Button raised to 60.
Makes it 60. Let's see how Camilo is going to play it. Now, this is not a big enough raise where you can just safely smooth call and think that it's going to be heads up, right, Dave? He's going to pop it
Yeah,
back.
you got to pop it back. You don't want that
If the
many
guy
calls.
made it 200, well, that'd
Oh,
be a
then
different
it's-
story.
Then you can easily just smooth call and hope that
Yeah, now George folds.
Camilo takes it down.
Yeah.
Now, interesting there, Jonas actually laid down ace-9 suited under the gun. And you'll see Jonas, and a lot of good players are like this, really try to avoid playing hands out of position, especially in the first couple of positions. But you'll see later on, if he's on the button or in the cutoff seat, he'll probably be raising with almost all of his hands.
Right.
I'm under the gun. I can just if I just go that position.
Small here. Live straddle, guys.
Look at
Live
this.
straddle.
Get a post from LA Poker 17 on 2+2.
Yeah,
huh?
I don't know who that guy is, but I think he plays No Limit at Commerce.
Well, there you
and
go.
I think
So Jonas did not take a big hit. He's fine. Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Jonas is a good guy.
Maybe that's Gore.
Who knows? I have no idea. Jonas told me, when I saw him here a couple of days ago, I said, "Hey, good to see you. What are you doing back?" And he said, I heard the game was good and I wanted to check it out." I thought, okay, great.
Okay, fellas, we're heads up.
George
Okay.
raises here to 100 with pocket jacks, and look at this. In the small blind calls with ace 5 of hearts. Queen 4-9. Check.
Check.
And George checks right behind him.
Really?
Turns a 5.
Wow. I mean, are jacks that good that you
Check,
really-
check again. And the river's a 7. And he's not going to get paid off.
Wow, okay. It's a really
Button's going to
interesting
move over here to
play.
seat 8.
I mean, George did raise it, 100, you said?
Yeah.
One thing with George's raises, and I know he watches the archives, he is an active subscriber, is he raises change. Sometimes he'll raise 100, and if you can pick up on the patterns of what he raises with certain hands.
Right.
I think, is Juan gone?
Looks like it.
Wasn't Juan's night, and he leaves.
There it is.
Juan's emptiness.
You can pick up that imprint on the chair bottom there on
Yeah.
the seat.
Look, there it is.
Limped around here. We got 3-way action. 5-5-6, and seat 8's got ace 6.
You and me? Shit. Okay.
Another example here. Jonas did not complete, even in the small blind, did not toss in that extra chip there to play. Really wants to avoid playing hands out of position.
Well, you and Jonas have a thing going on.
No, I respect his game. He's a good player. He knows how to play. And I'm pointing that to our listeners, who might be inclined to be better poker players.
Boy, you just put me in my place, I guess.
Well, notice how I'm not pointing out the way Freddie plays in seat 5.
Right.
Nothing wrong with Freddie. He's a class guy. He's a really nice guy. But, you know, if you really want to become a better poker player, you know, he's not one to emulate.
Fair enough. Limped around here. Jonas has moved over to seat 2. And Mo's coming in the game in seat 1. So this is really old school Live at the Bike now. We got Corporation Mike, Jonas, and Mo's coming into seat 1.
I tell you, if there was ever a night to extend Live at the Bike an extra hour, it's
Right.
the night. Got Mo in seat 1, Jonas in seat 2, and Mike in seat 3.
Four-way action here. 10-5-6 Rainbow. Limped around. If Corporation Mike ever comes back, hopefully he wasn't called back to his job or something. Turns at 3. Now BJ's got a flush draw. And George is going to come out and bet here. He's open-ended, and he's got a pair of 5s. And BJ's going to call. He's going to gut shot to the 4.
And BJ's got to be a little more aggressive.
Yeah, here we go to the river. River's at 3.
You know, now it's just going to get checked down, and George is going to win.
And again, you got to look at the type of player you're going against with your draws. I mean, is George going to pay you off? I mean, if a club comes on the river, you would think that you're going to bet. He's not going to call with a pair of 5s. You're not going to check raise. He's not going to bet with a pair of 5s on the river if you check to him.
No, earlier on when BJ made his flush on the river, George threw away King Queen, top pair with the good kicker.
Right.
Wasn't even thinking about it.
Mo's coming from a must-move table, Dave, and he has 11,000.
11,000?
Yep.
Wow.
Coming in.
That's not 11,000 yen or 11,000 pesos. That's 11,000 American dollars, huh? Wow. I wouldn't be surprised if Jonas actually bought in for a little more. Although Jonas doesn't really need to cover Mo. He wants to cover Mike.
Right.
I had no idea.
I sat down, I caught the full house, so it's okay. Oh, that's okay.
And Jonas was talking about how they made him post, because I think he was from a must-move table as well. And that was the hand that he flopped the full house. We got pocket aces over here for Freddie.
That has been raised.
And he's going to raise out of the small blind.
75.
Makes it 75 to go. And he's going to take it down.
Got kind of a short table right now. A couple players are taking breaks.
So we do have a must-move that's feeding into this table.
Yeah. Some people are scared of playing short. I got to tell you, you really, if you want to be a professional poker player, or even if you want to just be well, like I said, I want to say if you want to be a professional poker player, you really got to learn how to play short.
Yeah, we got 3 people out in the...
And obviously, if you're a tournament player, obviously you really want to learn how to play short, because when you get down to those final tables, or even when you get down to the final 2 tables, you know, and they're narrowing it down to 1 table, sometimes you're forced to play 5-handed and 6-handed.
Okay. I don't know how much. $700
You guys are listening, right?
What do you think the best way to learn how to play shorthanded is without really killing your bankroll? Is it a sit and goes online? You think those are worthwhile?
Tournament sit and goes, you mean?
Yeah, I mean playing shorthanded that kind of way.
So here he has only 1 ace of
I mean, is that worthwhile?
I mean, I can tell you, I don't mind, you know, normally my game online is, you know, multi-tabling 5-10 or 10-20 Omaha and Hold'em, but
Those are 10-handed, right?
9-handed when I play. But I'll hop in and play heads up with a guy that's like, say, maybe like a 3-6 game. I don't even really like to play heads up 5-10 or 10-20 because, you know, if you're playing other tables, you really got to pay attention because you can take a pretty good hit. Say playing 10-20 heads up, but
I don't understand how people play heads up.
Right.
And like 2 of the tables.
Right. That's a little difficult, but
yeah.
Something. Although I will play heads up Omaha because again, I mean, Shirley says the same thing. It's just the games are so good. It's just
yeah. Well, I don't mind heads up Omaha, but you're not going to play 3 other games at the same time.
What's that?
You're not going to play 3 other games at the same time.
No, not really, but yeah, we got 4 people missing from the table here.
So 5-handed here.
Yeah.
And with Jonas and Mo at the table, you know, they're not going to give free rides. They're not going to play this passive at all.
Yeah.
And look at Jonas. Jonas is straddling.
Mike,
Call.
I can give it to you. You call him.
And Jonas has got Queen.
King, Queen.
King, Queen. He's probably going to raise this up.
Well, 5-handed, I mean, he's out of position, but, you know, why not? A bunch of dead money in there. He probably does have the best hand, and he does.
And he gets a Queen 10 to call him.
It's going to make it 125 to go, and BJ immediately calls the Queen 10 of hearts.
Jonas is also one of those players, like Mike, he gets action because he gives action.
All right. 3-way action.
Wow.
Raniello's in there
right
with
away.
King 7 of clubs. I think it's 375. I think he made it 125 to go. Jack 7-3 with a couple of diamonds.
Well, Camilo has outflopped them both with the 7.
300.
But Jonas is going to make a real bet. He's going to bet 300 here. And does Camilo really want to get involved? And again, you can tell,
Right.
I mean, people that are going to bet for real here, it's going to put the pressure on someone with the 7 as opposed to
Right.
Jonas betting 85 here.
Right, how many times have we seen that where somebody
Right.
raises with king queen and then throws like a little $65 bet in there to see where he's at?
And there you go.
Pot's 300, he's betting 300, he takes it down. Money earned.
Oh, Freddie's back here. I guess he just got up for one hand. Where is Corporation Mike? That's the question.
We'll have to double up.
Yeah, I guess he was called away by work for a little while.
Yeah.
You have to double up? I have to triple up.
Oh, no, you double up.
I think Mike actually got word that he might even be back for his blind, Dave.
Afraid.
Oh, okay. You heard that?
Yes.
Triple up, then.
Are you getting a different feed than me?
Even for a week.
Apparently.
God damn it, you said you did okay there.
Pocket 5's over here. Now, short-handed, he's just going to make a limp here on the cutoff of pocket 5.
Yeah, you got to raise that up.
Three-way action here.
You got to bump that up, kiddo. Because now what do you do with your pocket 5s?
Ace 10 9. Mo checks second pair from up front.
Bet 25.
And Victor's going to bet 25. Mo is actually not going to get involved. But Jonas calls. He's open-ended. Check call here by Jonas. Turns a 7, and Jonas hits it. Let's see how Jonas is going to play
This
it.
is one of those times Jonas has hit his straight, but Victor's not going to take much heat.
Well, Jonas checks, and Victor bets 25 here again. Let's see how Jonas is going to play it. He's going to raise it up. He's going to make it 100.
You wonder if Jonas would have made this move, even if he hadn't hit it straight. You almost think, I mean, Victor's does $25 little bets.
Right, right.
I mean, it's kind of a weak bet. Now, sometimes weakness and strength look the same.
Thanks.
Drinking a hot tea.
Look at the intense look there by Mo.
Maybe he's constipated.
The more and more you look at it.
Yeah. Doesn't it kind of look it? No.
Hemorrhoids?
Oh.
I didn't say it. David did.
Wait. We've got it on tape. You can't get away from that one.
Lamp. Mo's got ace jack here on the button. Gonna raise it up.
60.
Gonna make it 60 to go.
Once again, if you have any questions for us, comments, advice, concerns, please email us at live@thebike.com. We try to keep the shows interactive as possible.
Heads up.
And we're heads up here.
Ace Jack versus Pocket Deuces. Now, obviously, deuces are ahead, but how do they know where they're at, especially when you get a flop like this? And you're out of position now.
105.
He's gonna bet 105 here on the button.
You can always make the argument, well, deuces are better than Ace Jack. Yes, they are, but what do you do now?
He's gonna call. He's gonna
Right.
check call.
So he's going to blindly call the whole way? I mean, just hope he's good?
Turns a 4.
Well, that doesn't change anything, obviously.
Well, he's gonna check, and Mo's gonna put the pressure on him.
And I got to tell you, this is the kind of player, I don't mind playing against the guy who pees me off with deuces.
He's gonna bet 400 here.
So I figure next time when I have, King 10 or Ace 10, I'm going to make sure I bet for value, so it pay me the entire way with deuces again.
He bets 400 here on the turn.
And look at Mo there. See if he gives anything away. He's only got ace high. Maybe holding his mouth, a little tell there. Trying not to let anything fall
And
out.
there you go. Camilo folds.
Yep. Inherently, the problem with playing pocket deuces from out of position, in a heads up especially. Well, it looks like we're getting a lot
here
of
in seat 2.
Looks like we're getting a lot of support on the 2+2 thread to have this show go longer.
Pocket queens here for seat 9. Actually, excuse me, queen jack, limp.
Slightly.
5-way action.
Unfortunately, I think the demands of our technical staff are such that we can't.
It's also
go longer.
interesting how you can say that since you're in the middle of your 8-hour shift and I'm ending it.
Ooh, two players have
Two
sixes
players
here.
have, 6s. BJ bets right into it, queen 6. Victor's just going to call with 6-9.
Is he? You think he's scared, or you think he's just playing it a little slow?
Well, let's see how this one's going to play out.
Now, Jonas is open-ended here
Yeah.
with the hearts as well.
He's
Backdoor
got backdoor hearts. He's going to make the call. And if he hits his 7,
He's fine.
yeah, 7 or deuce is good. Turns an ace. BJ's going to bet again.
At 50.
He bets 50. And now it looks like Victor might raise here.
Raise, make it 150.
And
He's
I think
gonna
that's
make
going
it
to get Jonas
150.
out. I think Jonas is pretty sure. I think he knew right away that somebody had a 6.
Well, the thing here, too, this is interesting. With trip 6s with a queen kicker, if you think about what types of hands people play with a 6 in it, I think I'm good if the other guy has a 6, right?
Well, they either has
And he's
6.
going to put it all in.
You figure either have 6-5, 7-6,
right.
or ace-6, and then you're in real trouble.
150.
So what are you going to do about
150
that?
more.
Yeah, all the money's going in here.
Yeah,
And Victor's in trouble. Victor needs, what, a 4, an ace, a 9.
yeah. And the river's an ace, and they're going to chop it up. Ugh.
Ace full? 6. Yes, I mean 6.
And there you go. Chop it up.
Ace saved you.
Yep.
Says ace saved you, ace saved you.
Chop it up, kind of like kissing your sister.
Well, I don't have a sister.
Okay. Kind of like kissing my sister. Although, actually, I've, you know what? If you've seen my sister, I'd rather chop the pot up.
Oh, that's bad. Jeez.
That's my sister. What am I supposed to say? Oh, my sister's hot. I want her. Is that what you want me to say?
Do you only have one sister?
I,
What did you say?
forget it.
Oh.
Can't win on that one, can I?
Button's going to move over here to seat 4. Corporation Mike is still away from the table.
Maybe I think he got ace 4.
I think it's a work crisis, Dave.
It's the ace of spades in the reverse. So the only
Pocket
one he has
aces here for seat 8. The big blind. That's Victor.
We've got a lot of we've had a lot of big hands in the big blind and small blind, haven't we?
Now, Mo's going to put a little mini raise in here. Oh, wow, and Jonas has got pocket kings. Mo makes it 35. Jonas has got kings, and Victor has aces. And how much does Victor have?
Well,
Seat
Victor got
8.
lucky that he just chopped that pot, so he still has a lot of money.
Yeah, he's probably got at least 1,000,
Now, this
right?
is a time where I smooth call. I gotta be honest with
Now,
you.
how much did Jonas make it there? 135.
See, that's a time. Why not just smooth call it? Disguise your strength of your hands. Mo is almost definitely not going to call $100 unless he has a huge hand. And in
Yeah.
that case, you don't mind it. You disguise the strength of your hand with the aces, and you play it from there.
And he's going to re-raise to 600.
Well, what do I know? And I mean, in this case, I don't know if Jonas can get away from it anyway.
Well, it
We'll see.
depends on how much money Victor has left. Again.
Yeah, you're almost all in.
Doesn't look like he has much
Yeah.
more, to be honest with
Well,
you.
let's see. I think that Jonas put him all in, and he's going to call. Maybe it was another 500 or so.
No, raise him, he might fold.
So what are we looking at? Actually, no, Jonas hasn't even called yet.
Oh, okay.
I think he put himself all in.
Just money in front of him. My money in front of him. I'm gonna put that last one.
And Jonas is going
Yeah,
to...
I think it's actually only 135 more, Dave.
Okay.
And Jonas asked him, do you have aces? He says, yep. He says, nice hand. So here we go, heads up.
That might hurt.
Queen, Jack, 10. Jonas is open-ended now. Turns a 9! And the river's a 6, and Jonas makes a king-high straight. Mo is out of the hand.
I got to
Wow.
tell you, if you have aces and you move in for $600 and the flop comes out Queen, Jack, 10, you got to hate it.
Oh, because you can't beat anything, right?
Well, you can only beat kings, and even kings are open-ended.
Right.
Ace and what? Ace and what? So
Ten's no good.
they're hard.
Yeah, what that get you? Get you third place.
Yeah, I know. I always
Button's going to move to seat 4.
Ace loses a king,
Jonas is going to bust out. And I think that seat 8 is left, Dave.
Yeah, he busts out Victor there.
He has aces. He wins.
Victor bites the dust. We got to get like accompanying music when people get busted out.
Now, that's a situation where, again, even if you...
Oh, no, Victor's buying in again.
Okay. Even if you know Victor is 100% that he has aces, the pot, Dave, at that point was about $800, and it was about $135 to call. You are not a 7-1 dog. Kings versus aces with 5 cards to come.
Wait, I'm curious. Jonas made it 135.
The guy re-raised to 600, and he only had 135 left.
Right, no. What I'm saying is when the guy makes it 600, can you
Right.
throw away kings then?
Well, no, but because what I'm saying is that even if you know he has aces, the pot is about $800, and it's 135 to call. You're not a 7-1 dog.
No, it's not 130. He had 135 more over the 600. Jonas has only got 135 in there, right? So it's another 465 to call the original 600.
Oh, you're right.
Right,
Yeah.
right. That's what I'm saying. I mean,
Yeah.
if you call that first 465.
Yeah, because I got confused because it looked like...
Yeah, it was only 130 after the original 600. You know what? Kings are real tough to get away from. But hey, better to be lucky than good, right?
And Victor, he rebought for 1,000.
I got confused as well. I thought for
Yeah,
a second Victor
yeah.
only had like $200. I was like, wait a second, what's going on here?
6-way action.
Obviously, our show is live, unscripted, unedited. Once in a while, we do make mistakes.
Well, Camilo's flopped. Oh, a couple of big hands there. Camilo's got top set. BJ's got a straight draw and a flush draw. Victor's open-ended. And Victor's going to bet right into the open end. Let's see how Camilo's going to play it. He's just going to call, Dave. He's playing the set slow.
Oh, that's a dangerous flop to just play slow.
And BJ's got a big hand. He's got a gut shot with a diamond draw.
His hand is strong enough to move on, isn't it?
Yeah, he's kind of short anyways. And we get three-way action here. It's about a $300 pot. Here
I
we
tell
go
you,
to
a
turn.
6 comes out, it's going to be crazy.
Turns a queen.
A 6 comes out, that'll give BJ the straight, Victor the straight.
Camilo's going to bet here about 400.
And now you're in a spot with 5-7 diamonds. Can you even call?
Well, it depends on how much you have left. It's a math problem. He's got a flush draw and a straight draw with one card to come. It looks like he might only have... Yeah, he only's got about 150 left, so...
It's just a matter of...
I mean, in essence, it was a $450 pot.
I know what you got.
Yeah, what can I do?
And Victor folds his hands. He's out. The river's at 8 there. Wow. And Camilo makes quads. Well, I guess math problem out the window when the guy has quads, huh? Woo. Man.
Optional. Someone comes here from there. Spell them optional.
Button moves over to seat 6. That's Hav.
Wow. Crazy.
Hav's got that donning the Boston Red Sox cap. Out here, I think we've got the L.A. Dodgers. We should call them the L.A. Red Sox now, almost. I think everybody from the Boston area has come over here. Small blind is George. Big blind is Victor. Victor's bought in again, by the way, for, I want to say 500. Well, I could be wrong, though. It could be 1,000. And Camilo's going to limp in there with 10-6 of clubs under the gun. Mo folds.
Thank God for cough buttons, Dave.
And we're getting heads up here. 10-6 of clubs for 7 deuce.
King 8-4 here with a couple of spades.
And this is an automatic bet if you're Camilo.
Oh, check, check. Turns 3.
If the big blind checks to me, I bet.
Oh, yours? Okay.
And it
Well,
looks
10
like
high is good.
10 high is going to be good anyways.
What is it? 10 high. 10 high.
I mean, why did Victor even complete? Do you have to complete in small
Well, no,
blind?
Victor was big blind.
Oh, I see. Okay, and
Victor
Camilo had
didn't-
limped
yeah.
in with King 6-10 of
The
clubs.
small
yeah.
blind folded. The big blind, he was there.
Right, right. Why do you limp in with 6-10 of clubs under the gun?
I have no idea.
It was funny. I mean, actually a funny situation if anyone was here in the booth. I saw the quads, Dave, and I went to get all excited.
Yeah.
But something got stuck in my throat.
Oh, yeah. I saw you choking. I felt bad. I was trying to
I was like, quad!
I was trying to finish the play-by-play here. My comrade here is like choking to death on the side.
But moves over to seat 7.
I keep playing the drums with these pens in front of me. I think Isaac's going to kill me.
Go there, cancel it. Go there, cancel it. Player.
So feel free to come in and audition for my part. I might not be here tomorrow.
Straddle here by Mo, I believe.
Yeah.
He's got 3-5 in the straddle spot. And he's gonna. I think that Mo's raising out of the straddle spot. He's gonna make it 110.
I'm going to take down the free money.
And he takes it down.
Why not take down free $40, eh?
And I think that. Do I hear? Yeah, Corporation Mike is back, but now Jonas. Oh, Jonas is back too.
Now, Jonas is just waiting for Mike to
Yeah,
get in the
maybe
game.
Jonas just plucked Mike from
Oh
wherever he was.
my! And look who's back in the game from before. It's Carlos.
Yeah.
Oh wow, this could turn out to be an all-star last 40 minutes. Here we
Right,
go.
right.
To get even, right? I gotta go all in. Oh, yeah, last time.
We got Mo in seat 1, Jonas in seat 2, Mike seat 3, Carlos in seat 4. And it even gets more. I mean, Hav and George obviously make the game really interesting.
Yep.
I was just giving you shit.
10, please.
His pocket king creates his pocket aces. How?
Carlos is bought in for 1,000.
Carlito. Yes.
Nine, 10, Jack, Queen.
I got a hand that I've been getting for a month and a half straight.
The button's over there. And
Surprise, surprise, George is complaining about something. I've never heard that before.
George, really?
Yeah,
5-way
he
action.
never complains.
Oh, can you get her away from me, please?
Jack 9 deuce. I think it's Nicole in the background. You know, I think that George and Nicole might have a thing going on, dude.
Can you get her behind the ribbon, please?
They could. Well, look at his
I know,
hands.
I know.
What's he reaching for?
Turns a queen.
Mo's got the best hand here at Queen 5 now, right?
Yeah, and he's going to bet 35 here.
I think that's enough to take it down, though.
10, 10, 10.
It looks like.
I thought I had it.
Carlos has got a 10. He's open-ended now. And he's going to throw it away, though. Yeah, last time I criticized George. Wow, we're getting a call from Victor?
Well, Victor, he's got a, what is it, gut shot there to the 10? Wow. River's a deuce. And Mo's going to bet here again.
How much would you pay me off more already?
And look at Mo's bet there. Mo bets even a marginal hand like that. Queen 5.
Funny thing about Nicole, Dave.
Yeah.
I love her. She's a sweet, sweet girl. You know the type of women that I like. See, I grew up in Boston where there's tons and tons of Irish women, and I think
Right.
Nicole looks very, very Irish. You know, and one of the reasons why I moved to LA were for the Asian women. So she's not necessarily my cup of tea, but I think a lot of people like her.
How will she sleep at
I
night?
know, I know. Well, I think there's already been a couple posts about how pretty Nicole is on the 2+2. Lots of Irish people in Boston. Did anybody know that?
I know. Ireland West.
Yeah.
I need that extra 1.3.
King Queen for Mo. In the small blind. He's going to call this.
Check.
And Mike checks in the straddle spot.
Queen 7 ace.
We might see Mike play it a little more in line with Jonas and Mo in the game.
Turns a king. Now Mo's got 2 pair. Now he's going to bet. Got checked around on the flop. He bet 75.
Take it down, Lucky.
And he is going to take it down. Look at this comment here from Baron Van Gortel. It says, Tuck, seriously, with your normal crew, how many people on this table or in your entire Live the Bike cast do fold King pre-flop?
And it's an interesting point. Obviously, not many players. But to me, if you're playing a deep, no-limit hold'em cash game, you have to be able to get rid of pocket kings pre-flop occasionally. If a player that is very, very tight, you know, really puts you to the test pre-flop, you have to. Once in a while, you know, you've got to be able to get rid of them. Because you got to look at a player and go, oh, wait a second. With this player, I mean, let's say I'm playing against like a guy like George, or a guy like Ali, even worse, or Dr. Beebe. You know, I raise, he re-raises, I re-raise him, and then he comes over the top all in. You know, is he going to do that with queens or jacks? I'm not saying it's easy, and rarely do we see it happen, but, you know, I think you have to be able to do it.
This pot was limped around, and Jonas is going to raise it out of the small blind. He's got ace-king. He's going to make it 145 to go. Now, Hav had limped in with ace rag suited. I'm sure he's not going to play.
Hav is aware that Jonas kind of mixes it up, too.
And possibly Jonas is just trying to make a steal here.
Exactly. Hav knows that.
Wow, look at this. Camilo calls Queen 10.
And I think he's in the small. No, he's in the.
No, I think he's in
cutoff
position. He's in position.
Okay.
King 8-4. Well, Jonas has got top pair.
I've seen Jonas check this, but he's not going to.
250.
He's going to bet 250. Camilo quickly folds. Let's get some more shots in Nicole, huh, for our viewing audience? I think at this point Isaac just ignores me.
Everybody
There
ignores
it
us.
is. There she is, lovely Nicole.
The more I actually get to know Nicole, the more I like her. She's a real sweetheart.
she's really a sweetheart. Yeah.
She's kind of become this no limit cash game groupie though.
Yeah.
She always sits behind George and Hav. Roots him on. I gotta find out. You think they're dating, George and?
I don't even. George might be married with kids for all I know.
No,
I
no,
don't
no.
even know.
George actually is actually just complaining a divorce.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Three-way action.
So he's single. If
He's
you're interested, Bart. Here at Live at the Bike, we really try to get to know our players.
Turns to 7. Mike's got a flush draw. He's going to bet $30 now.
Yeah, 1,000 via 500.
You got a 7, it's good.
Carlos has got a straight draw now there. But I mean, he's straight, Dave. If an 8 comes, anyone with a 10 would have a higher straight, right?
Yes.
He's going to make the call.
He's making the call. That's Carlos for you.
And the river's a heart, and Mike gets there.
Bet 100.
And he's going to bet 100.
Yeah, Mike's queen high was good though, wasn't it?
Grab all those. Jesus Christ.
Hey!
What are you doing, man?
Mike takes it down. It does not show.
You're right.
100%.
There it is.
He's just getting me out of the pot.
Mike loves folding. It's his favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
He folds just for fun.
Sometimes I'll just lay it down.
He just comes to the casino to fold.
He goes for fun and he bets for fun.
Button's moved over there to seat 3.
It's funny, they're talking on 2+2 about how hard our job is.
Right.
And I'd like to say that I don't think our job is easy, but at the same time I wouldn't trade my job for, well, would I trade my job for anything else? Yeah, I would. But I like my job, I'll put it that way.
I'd say, what?
I kind of long to be a cowboy
You got 8s?
on like 150 acres in Montana.
You got Jacks?
You know, kind of like a Brokeback Mountain thing.
60.
You got Jacks?
I kind of walked right into that, didn't I?
You haven't played
Got a raise here by Mo with ace queen. Made it 60 to go. Mike's going to call with deuce 4 offsuit here on the button.
Well, Live at the Bike is not complete, at least without one homosexual, Jeffrey.
Victor calls with 9-10. And here we go, 3-way action.
Go all the way. I'm playing
You
for
don't
the
go all
flop.
the way?
Look at
Not
them
what
deuce
I
out there,
heard.
dealer.
Go ahead.
There's one.
Well, queen 5 deuce. Mo's hit top pair, and Mike has a pair as well. Mo's going to come out, and it looks like he's going to bet. He's going to bet 200. Now, does Mike want to get involved here? Could Mo just be making a continuation bet
Of
with
course he
something like
could.
ace king?
This is the problem, though. Is does Mo have, does he have aces? Does he have kings? Does he have ace queen? Who the heck knows?
Mike's going to call. And now it's like, what do you think Mike has? I mean, would Mike call a deuce 4? Well, he has.
Yeah, he has, and he would.
Turn is an 8.
Well, that's not scary.
That's pretty, yeah, that's almost about as good a card as you can get on the turn. In
A
terms
red
of-
8. I mean, it doesn't
Yeah.
complete a
It's not
straight.
going to make 2 pair unless Mike has 5-8 or something like that.
Don't want the 50
Mo
bucks,
bets
huh?
again, and now Mo and Mike folds.
How
Yeah.
much do I have to bet?
I mean, the only thing I will say is if a 4 comes out and it's not a spade, Mike might get a lot of money out of Mo.
I got 12.
You got another one.
Although that does,
Ooh,
I mean, it makes straights possible.
Right.
You know.
It's just Mike, though, because Mike will move with anything. He does get action.
Mo's back. Mike's back. I'm sitting on the shit.
Button moves over there to seat number 4.
Got it or not?
3 or Jack? No, Mike. Jack or Mike?
I'm going to see tomorrow.
Yeah, I had 4-5. That second guy. Shit. Why don't you just check and then I hit the.
I just checked.
Oh, that big.
Not check. I usually just call. I mean, betting.
So Hav, who we haven't seen play a hand in about 2 hours, is in the big blind.
What's the time?
Seat 8 limps it. Limp.
And I'm looking at this 2+2 thread by Flawless Victory. He wants to start prop bets or a drinking game, and I think that's a great idea. Drinking game based off our comments.
There you go.
Every single time you were to say, like, give me one of your phrases,
And there it is.
somebody has to do a shot.
Well, Mike's got trip 8s. He's going to bet $40. Carlo has a flush draw, and he's going to call. Carlos calls. Hav has got a 5. And Mo runs a proposition bet. He's got 2 8s on the board.
There you
He's
go.
excited.
Maybe it's 150. I'm waiting.
Maybe 150. Yeah,
And here we go to the turn. Turns a spade, and Mike's got trips, Dave. This is what we was talking about earlier in the show. He's got trips, and Carlos has a flush.
But it's Carlos.
75.
Mark.
Mike's going to bet 75.
Oh, you can
Carlos is going to raise.
Raise, make it 300.
He's going to make it 300.
Exact same as smoking, as far as you're concerned.
Oh,
Well, if Mike gets away from it, I mean, I will be somewhat impressed.
Would you get away from it with Carlos? Remember, it's Carlos betting.
The other thing is you can't beat a better 8 either.
But you can beat a worse 8. You can beat 8-7. You can beat 9-8. I'm just wondering. I'm wondering versus Carlos. I don't know if I would get away from this or not.
And Mike's going to call. And here we go to the river. River's a blank. Mike checks blind. And let's see what Carlos is going to do. Pot's about, I want to say, maybe 850.
I'm going to take this because he's you.
Oh, Carlos checked the river, Dave. Ooh. Wow. Boy, could he have made a lot of money there.
Yeah, I think Mike would have paid him off.
He's got about, what, maybe 550 there? He could have moved all in and probably gotten a call.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
He left a lot of money there on the table. Wow.
I mean, obviously, that is a flaw in Mike's game. I'm just wondering how many players would get away from that. So having the player.
I thought that you were saying it was Carlos, meaning that he's not necessarily going to bluff in that spot. But it depends on the night. We've seen him play.
No, he might not bluff in that spot, but he also doesn't always see the hand the way it is. Like, he might be betting 8-7 there, not even seeing the spades.
So you're saying you don't necessarily get away from it. And what if you value bets all in there at about $500 into a $900 pot?
I don't know. I mean, that's what's funny. I mean, if George or Hav were to bet that,
right,
it's pretty easy laydown. But with Carlos betting it, or a player like Jonas betting it, I don't know. These guys could make. Well, Jonas could be making a move,
right, and
Carlos could just be, blissfully ignorant of what's out there.
We have a $40 raise here.
I really want to develop this game, this drinking game. Maybe we can sell it next Christmas. And just like that.
Yep.
Mine would be like without a doubt.
Without a doubt. With Dave Tuckman. Without a doubt. And I have to be honest with you. There you go. Ace, king, king here on the flop. Mike's got queen 10. He's got a gut shot. Backdoor spades.
85.
And he's going to bet 85.
I always love a flop like this, and everybody goes, "Ooh, jackpot!" Like it's like probably one of the worst flops for a jackpot.
Wasn't it funny, Dave? You were actually, when I was in the 3 to 5, that hand that you were talking about when you had aces, the other guy had aces, and the other guy had kings. I overheard somebody at that table say, "Oh, jackpot, jackpot!" And like, it's impossible to get a jackpot with that.
Right, and even then, when somebody has pocket aces, when one player has pocket aces,
right,
jackpots are very, very difficult to get.
Oh, yeah, of course.
It's much easier when somebody has pocket jacks, obviously, than somebody else has ace king.
If somebody has pocket aces, I mean, basically,
you have to be
well, it's almost impossible because the other guy has to have quads with the other ace, and the case ace has to come on the board, right?
No, you could have. I mean, you could have pocket jacks. I could have aces. The flop could come out ace jack jack.
You guys are drawing thin, man. You guys.
Oh, that's you're right. Right. Ace is full of jacks. Yeah. Wow, aces against ace king here. Seat 9 has aces. He raised it up, got a call in seat 5 and a call in seat 8. Ace 9 and ace king.
And that is still Freddie in seat 5, huh?
Yeah. 5-5-7. Well,
that's a nice flop for aces. You gotta love that. The board pairs.
Anytime you have an overpair in the board pairs, and you're pretty confident that the guy doesn't have trips, obviously you have to love it, right?
Right. You got to be. Anytime you start thinking of the hands, 6s and below are pretty. Actually, even 8s and below, and a pair, I like it. 2s, 3s, 4s. If the board pairs queens or jacks, obviously you got to be aware because those are cards people like to play.
Right.
I mean, I know there's a game out there right now. It's like a scene game or something, where you play it, with a videotape or a DVD. What is
Here's another comment that I often say that I probably wouldn't have pulled out by John E on 2+2. I love Asian women.
There you go.
There you go.
I love Asian women would be like 3 drinks.
Pocket queens here for Freddie in C5. And he's going to raise here after a couple of limpers.
Make it 60.
He's going to make it 60 to go.
50.
And you notice some of the players here, like Hav, they don't play many hands, and obviously you can play winning poker many different ways. Hav likes to play very few hands. He plays them hard.
3-way action here. Ace 9 of hearts and queen jack. Here we go. Oh, king 3-9. Camilo's got middle pair and the nut flush draw. And Freddie's going to move all in here.
Yeah, he only has 200.
Looks like 200. So now the pot, Dave, boy,
I don't think Camilo's going anywhere.
It's a $400 pot. It's 200 to call. You're getting 2 to 1 on your money. You've got an overcard. You get a flush draw and a pair.
There's no way you can get this away.
Yeah, with 2 cards to come, he's going to make the call.
I mean, even if he doesn't think his ace is good, he's got to go, okay, I have 3 9s.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I have 2 9s and 9 flush cards.
Right.
I got 11 outs minimum. I might have 15 outs.
Definitely
14 outs, sorry.
getting the price. Turns a 7. River's a jack, and Freddie's going to continue to stay in the game.
Yeah. You can't fault Camilo there. I mean, he had a lot of outs. And getting 2 to 1, I mean, it's an easy call.
Well, those are the types of hands, though. I mean, and I think a lot of our viewers are more likely to play in restricted buy-in games, where it's almost like these cut and dry math problems occur more often than in an unrestricted game where you have more implied odds. But you got to know your math, like in a 200 game. You got to really know what your right price is, because you're going to be faced with a lot of situations where you're going to have to call all in to figure out your price. Here, we can take a look at another chip count. Now, Mo, we haven't seen really him do that much. I think he sat down with about 11,000, so he's up a few $100.
Jonas sat down with about, what would we say, 2,700?
Yeah, he's up about 900. George is down about 700. Bob is still up. He hasn't really played much, but, you know, he made that.
You won't see him play more than 6 or 7 hands all night.
Yeah.
Like I said, the more I watch Hob, the less action I'm going to give him.
7 players.
7-way action. Limped around.
I mean, it's almost as if you were going to build the perfect poker player. You would take, 2 parts aggression, 2 parts math.
Queen Jack 4 here with a couple of diamonds.
Throw a little bit of discipline and patience in there.
We got a $50 bet here by Mike. Got second pair. Looks like it's the best hand. Actually, Mo's got Queen Deuce from up front.
Yeah, that's not a hand I don't think Mo's going to get involved, especially when Camilo calls.
What did Camilo call with? Ace 8? Is he going to set up a move?
He's got the ace of diamonds. Hey, I'm just throwing it out there. What do you want me to say?
Well, it turns an ace.
There you go.
Camilo checks. Mike bets 100. Camilo calls. If this goes to showdown and he checks blind, oh, and the river's a king.
Yeah, and Mike's got 2 pair.
Yeah, and he actually has the best hand now. I was going to say, if this goes to showdown and Mike loses,
I
got to think that he would probably be upset.
Now, look at that. Now, Mike in position does not bet 2 pair there. But those are like tells I'm telling you you can look at.
Well,
okay, he doesn't bet 2 pairs.
I do have to say something.
Go.
The guy checked blind on the river before the river.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
So that obviously changes things, right?
It does change things.
Yeah.
You're right. Without a doubt. Drink, everybody.
Button moves over here to seat 9.
I think we should drink more. I talked to our producer about that.
Maybe during like slow periods of the show, we can stream, portions of Memoirs of a Geisha too, during the show.
I have a copy of that at home. You want it?
Raise, make it 75.
$75 raise.
Getting a couple of emails here that are voting for the 7 p.m. start for Live at the Bike.
Well, here we go. Carlos against Jonas. $75 raise. Deuce, 8, king. Couple clubs. Jonas checks. Carlos has got top pair.
Look how many times Carlos is going to check his hands. That was the 3rd time he's checked it. No, watch. He'll check it like 5, 6 times.
I don't think Jonas is going to get involved here.
Oh, okay.
We had an email here from David Moxness. He says, it might be really cool to have Mo in for some commentary in an interview. Has it been done or suggested? We actually have had Mo sit in here one time. I have no idea what the date is off the top of my head. I'm sure it's in the archives.
He gets a little shy, though, doesn't he?
He is a little bit difficult to understand. He has an accent. I mean, it's funny how actually seeing a person talk who has an accent is a lot more helpful than just, say, listening to them, like on the phone or audio-wise.
Right.
You can almost sometimes pick up the words by the movement of their mouths.
Or reading the lips.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've done it before. He is a little bit difficult to understand.
Some people, too, I mean, believe it or not, I remember when we brought in Min Win in here, a lot of people, when they look up at the screen and the camera's on them, they get really scared.
Yeah.
I tried to explain to them that we only have 4 or 5 viewers, but they still get scared.
I don't even know what the heck the position is. I don't know who has the best position, who doesn't.
Carlos is going to raise it up to 50 here. He's got queen 10 of spades. George calls with ace queen. Seat 8's going to call. Victor with king 9. And we're going to see 5-way action here. So it's a $300 pot. Mike's in there with ace rag. Here's the other thing, too, Dave. Mike calling off with big raises with, like, ace rag offsuit. It's just... Carlos flops top two pair. And is George going to get in trouble here with ace-queen? Carlos bets 200. The pot's now 500. George has ace-queen. He had Carlos dominated, but he's in trouble now.
Well, look at Carlos. He's getting paid off left and right now.
George is going to make it 400. So is George putting in a little feeler raise here? Let's see what Carlos is going to move over the top, all in. And I think this might save George. He's kind of a smart enough player.
Yeah, Carlos showing a lot of strength here.
Yep.
You got to think one pair is not good.
And it looks like he might have over 1,000 more.
Carlos, I don't think is cagey enough to make this move with a big flush draw.
Pot's 900 plus what he has left. And it looks like, let's say if it's 1,000, it's about a $1,900 pot. 1,000 to call.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those times you got to look at the odds. You don't necessarily look at the odds. You got to just go, am I beat?
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't really have a redraw. He doesn't have a heart. And at this point, do you really put Carlos on a flush draw? Come on.
That's what you tell him.
Well, you're telling me, you know, it's not cool. But
I have two pairs. Whatever you see the high there, that's what I have. Two
you have
pairs.
two pair, huh?
Queen 10.
You raise queen 10, you hit both of them.
Well, Carlos is not lying. It's tough for Carlos to really be a winning player when he tells everybody what they have.
Yeah, he's got a...
Well, I think George folded and Carlos showed it.
Well, Carlos told him what he had.
Also, there have been some calls, you know, from the internet land, Dave. Get Nicole in there to commentate. She's hot. She can just slide in and replace Shirley. I actually talked to Nicole about that.
Well, it's either Nicole or Shauna Hyatt, so we're working on it.
Button moves over here to seat 2. For now, it's going to be David and I, but we always need somebody there kind of as backup.
Yeah, no, yeah. Could help.
And Dave, that pot was, I mean, it was a big pot there. That was probably the biggest pot of the night, and George didn't even call.
Well, he put a little bet out there, see where he was at. He got the answer, and he threw it away.
Raise, make it 8. I mean 80.
$80 raise here.
Yeah, this is hysterical. I'm sorry. This is a great email from Phone Bone, and I'm going to get to it right after this ad because it's hysterical. I like the subject better than actually what he said.
We're going to see, it's an $80 raise, and we're going to see multiple callers here.
Victor in there with ace-5 offsuit.
I think that Jonas is raised here in position, Dave. Yeah, it is.
And once again,
action.
he loves to raise on the button with really any two cards.
$320 pot, ace-9-4, all clubs. We know when we talk about these types of flops firing out. If it gets checked to Jonas, might he bet here? Now, Victor has a weak ace. No one really has a super high club.
Bet 200.
But Victor's going to come out and bet 200 with ace-5. I mean, his hand is good right now, Dave, but look at the danger of playing ace-5. Is that really the flop you want to see out of position?
Well, once again,
off
you're either going to win a small pot or lose a big one. And in this case, the only reason he's winning a big pot is because he called an $80 raise pre-flop with ace-5.
Right.
It happened to be the best hand, but how does he know that?
And the action's over to Carlos. He's got, the third nut draw. He's going to get away from it.
Yeah. And obviously, Hobbs not going to call this with 7-8 of spades.
Right.
That's this email here from Phone Bone. The subject is things you will never hear Mike Sexton say on the World Poker Tour. And the quote he says is, "I moved to L.A. for the Asian chicks." Thanks a lot, Phone Bone. That's great. I actually would love to start a subject like that. Things you will never hear Mike Sexton say.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate the email. We try to keep this show as politically incorrect as possible.
You know, we were talking about this earlier, you and I, outside the show, kind of where the theme of the show was going on, and it's almost like, and I don't actually even like this show on TV. It's almost like the Best Damn Sports Show. I like their idea, I just don't like the hosts. But we bring some other things besides poker into
Well, I like this show, but I don't like the hosts either. But hey, we're still here.
Pocket Queens here for seat 8. Looks like he limped from up front. And a couple other, and Mike's gonna raise on the button here, Dave. So this is the situation we talked about, limping in with a big pocket pair when Mike is on the button or in the cutoff. Let's see if Queens is gonna pull the limp re-raise. Now Mike hasn't raised enough here. where you're going to get everyone else out of the hand, and George is called in between. And Victor is going to pull the limp re-raise. He's going to make it 300.
Senor.
I tell you, this night has really turned up where that first half hour was almost painful.
Right.
Yeah, I like it very much. Thank you, dealer. See, Dave, thank you. You didn't listen to me.
Button moves over to seat 4. Small blind is Freddie, $5. Big blind is Hav. Midnight there in seat 6, $10. And that makes George under the gun. First to act, and he's going to limp in. And George is limping in with 4-3 offsuit under the gun.
Well, pocket kings here for Mo, and he's going to make it 75. Yeah, that is pretty strange.
I mean, I just don't. I mean, on the button and the cutoff seat, okay.
Maybe George is going to pull the limp re-raise against Mike.
Yeah, I just don't. I mean, 4-3 offsuit in the first position.
Yeah. Lions, please. Small and big. Big one is George.
And George is the big blind.
George has to change out.
Victor under the gun, first act.
Yep.
You can probably get them to put some soy milk. Good amount, like a half amount. A half calf.
Limp.
Chai latte.
Tofu stuff.
A little seaweed for you for wrap.
Mo limps here in seat 1. He's got king, queen.
Sounds good.
And we haven't really heard much from Jonas either.
Now he's played it real straightforward. I mean, he
Yeah.
raised with 3-6 suited a couple of hands ago to set.
Right.
But
Limped around here. Ace, deuce, 10.
got a couple of aces out there. Camilo's got ace 6. You see, and Mike there with ace 3. The likelihood of this hand getting chopped up, obviously, 6 is not a very high kicker. Nobody has spades.
I'll be honest with you. I tried playing the best.
Mo threw a little bet out there with his gut shot and got raised by Mike. And Camilo throws it away, and Mo is going to call.
Wow. Turns to 6.
Well, that would have gave Camilo 2 pair. And they both check.
And the river here is a 10. And did Mo move all in here? Mo's moved all in on the river. River's an 8, excuse me. And look at that. Mike folds the hand, and he shows the bluff, Dave.
Oh, shit.
Wow. Mo moved all in.
I mean, you talk about poker instincts. I guess he might have a tell on Mike.
Poker instinct or poker balls? I mean, jeez.
That's a hard thing to do, Mo.
Well, you know, I mean, Mike makes a little raise there, and then he checks the turn,
Right.
inducing a bluff. And he gets that bluff, but I mean, I guess he wasn't prepared to call an all in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny, you know, it actually, Mo was able to move all in because Mike did not have that much money in front of him. I
Right.
guarantee you, if Mike has $3,000 or $4,000, Mo doesn't make that play. The fact of the matter that Mike's only got maybe $800
Right.
made the play much easier.
Well, this pot's limped around here. 7-way action. 8, deuce, 4.
Also, like running around, pumping my arm.
Wow. It's like yesterday with those kings, man.
And does anyone have a pair here?
No, that does go.
Yeah, 10-8, and he's going to bet 70. That's Victor. And Mike calls with a wheel draw.
We're drawing dead here.
Seat 5 also has a wheel draw, but Freddie's going to get rid of it. Freddie had backdoor flush possibility.
What a man.
And George is out of the hand as well. It's heads up here.
Turns a king.
Doesn't change anything. And Victor's going to keep betting.
He's going to bet 100.
Now, you can't instantly be afraid of that overcard. Some people go, oh, now there's a king out there. My opponent must have a king. But is Mike going to make a move here? Sometimes if he sees a bluff, he starts bluffing. It's like monkey see, monkey do.
He's going to make it 350 to go. 250 more.
And Victor quickly called. Oh, no. Did he?
Let's see here. Yeah, he did call. He
Quickly.
did call. So here we go to the river. River's a 6.
That doesn't change anything. I don't think Victor has that much money left.
Yeah, I don't think he does either.
I think Mike's got to shut down here. I don't think...
Well, he's gonna push Jib. He's gonna try to make a move here. It looks like maybe 450 or 500 here. And Victor has him covered. So let's do some math here. I mean, we're talking about almost a $1,200 pot, 500 to call.
Exactly.
Wow, and I mean, I guess the 6 of diamonds does complete the flush.
If Mike maybe raised on the come here on the turn.
Yeah, I mean, if he had, say, I'm trying to think of a hand he might have, say, like ace 4 diamonds.
And he makes the call.
Yeah.
He's going to make the call. And Mike is bluffed off his chips. There it is.
And that's the biggest problem with Mike's game. You know, he'll play it pretty well. You know, he'll mix it up. He gets people off their game. He wins a lot of pots, and then he ends up bluffing off all his chips.
Dave, I got to tell you, we had mentioned that, Full Contact Poker was doing a thread following the show. I know that they're just starting up, but it seems to be sporadic. And it looks like somebody kind of piggybacked the thread on another thread tonight. So if you guys want that, full credit, start the thread up, and we'll read some of the messages.
Or you can obviously just go to 2+2.
That's right. That too.
Since 2+2 has been with us since the start.
Right.
Obviously we do have some allegiance to them. And obviously, if you ever don't want to go to 2+2 or Full Contact, you can just email us at liveatthebike.com.
Limped around here.
5 players.
Ace 3-7, rainbow.
Ooh, 2 pair for George.
Yep, he's got top 2 pair. Carlos is going to come out and bet here on a 3.
Yeah, he's got bottom pair.
Raise it, make it 100.
George is going to raise here to 100. Carlos bets a quarter. And then Carlos is going to be in big trouble here if he tries to call and tries to spike 2 pairs.
And that's a pretty good flop for 2 pair. You look at goes rainbow board,
Right.
no straight possibilities. I mean, you're almost hoping Carlos has an ace here. You're hoping he has ace jack, ace queen. So he shows him a 3.
Yeah.
Big lay down there for Carlos.
Yep. Whatever happened to Jennifer Bankston?
Petty, yeah, get Yana back in there.
Well, yeah. Now, Jennifer Bankston is quite the cutie, I think. She hasn't been in here in a while.
No.
Yeah.
I remember doing a show with her really early on, and obviously she was very shy in the beginning on the show.
Well, I also love her, and she's a total sweetheart. And a lot of people told me, well, sometimes her voice isn't necessarily conducive to kind of an audio-only presentation, I guess you could say.
Oh, okay.
I didn't think that, but...
I haven't really listened to her that much. I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
6 players.
I'll take your word for it, though.
6-way action.
I mean, I'll take whoever's word it is. But
8 deuce 6. Hobbs got a flush draw with overcard. Well, 1 overcard.
and then Carlos has got the best hand here.
He's going to bet
Well,
on
it is
6.
overcards to Carlos' hand here.
Hob calls. And Hob has really kind of gotten cold decked here. Unless you say that he's just been playing tighter than he ever has before.
He really has. He said that he had a bad month, and he attributed that to playing too many hands.
Really?
So he's really cut it down. He's really playing a little more ABC.
Turns a 9. Now Hobbs open-ended with the flush draw. Carlos has a straight draw with his pair. He's still good. Let's see if Hobbs going to raise here.
Now, this is one of those times if you raise with a draw.
And look at this. Hob is showing George the hand, and he's just going to call.
Is he showing, or did George just take his hand?
I don't know. River's a 3, and he never made anything.
Yeah.
And Carlos is going to bet here
I'll
again.
continue to bet. Look at that. I mean, you get called twice, and he still bets.
Bets 95 here.
I mean, is there a reason to bet the river there if you're Carlos? Can you get called by a deuce?
Unless you're doing it so that, you don't check and, face a big bet on the river, right?
Right, because it's not like he's showing it to, hide what he had. He shows anyway.
Yeah, Hob played that hand fairly passively.
Yeah, you think if Hob raises the turn, can Carlos call with 1 pair of 6s?
Right. Hey, Dave, this is going to be the last hand of the night.
Oh, say it ain't so.
So,
Game's just getting good. It's kind of like a soap opera, the last minute you go, oh, but what's going to happen?
straddle here. I think it's by Joe. Is it? No, it's by Corporation Mike.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen?
King Queen for Camilo in seat 9. The only one with a real hand.
And he just limps here on the button.
But he's the first person in the pot.
Yeah, but maybe he's doing it to limp re-raise Mike, who might raise out of the
Okay.
straddle spot. I'm just saying, but Mo's got pocket 9s, and he's going to raise.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I just King Queen is not that strong where I want to limp re-raise with it, is it?
It's 150 more. Well, Camille has position. He's heads up. He makes the call. Here we go to the flop.
Yeah, King Queen can be badly dominated. In this case, is okay.
7 deuce 6. Mo's got no repair.
Yeah, nice flop from Mo.
He's going to bet 500 here.
Yeah, no messing around here. He's going to put Camille to the test right away.
He basically put Camille all in essence there. Well, that's going to do it for us tonight. Now, tomorrow night, please join us for our 10-20 unrestricted buying game. And that game obviously plays a lot bigger than this game. And this game actually kind of played on the small end for 5-10 games of this type. You know, we'll see, it's a brown chip game. We'll see $10 chips on the table. And it's a big game.
A lot of straddling. It
and
plays
hey,
real big.
if you think that you can take on some of these people that you see, why don't you come down here? We start at 6 o'clock Pacific time every Monday through Friday. So for everyone here in the booth and for David Tuckman, I'm Bart Hanson. Good night, everybody, from Live at the Bike.